My beloved child, celebrate. Your breakthrough has arrived. Before you question those words, before you look around at your circumstances and wonder if anything has truly changed, I want you to listen carefully to my voice. There are moments in life when the greatest shifts happen before human eyes can see them. There are seasons when heaven moves first, and the earth follows afterward. This is one of those moments. For so long, you have carried burdens that few people understood. You smiled when your heart was aching. You kept moving when every step felt heavy. You prayed prayers that seemed to disappear into silence. You waited for answers, waited for relief, waited for a sign that your struggle was not in vain. There were nights when you lay awake wondering if things would ever change. There were mornings when you woke up tired before the day even began. Yet through it all, I was with you. My beloved child, what if I told you that the delay was not a denial? What if I told you that while you were worrying about what was happening in front of you, I was arranging miracles behind you, beside you, and ahead of you? What if the very thing you thought was falling apart was actually being repositioned for something greater than you imagined? Many people celebrate only after they see the victory. They wait until every obstacle is removed, every prayer is answered, and every promise is fulfilled. But I am calling you into a deeper kind of faith. I am inviting you to celebrate now because something has already shifted. The chains that held you are weakening. The doors that seemed permanently closed are beginning to open. The answers you have been seeking are closer than you realize. Do not mistake the quietness of this moment for an activity. A seed does not announce its growth while it is buried beneath the soil. Yet day by day, hidden from view, life is developing. Roots are spreading. Strength is forming. Preparation is taking place. In the same way, I have been working beneath the surface of your life. Even when you saw nothing, I was accomplishing something. Even when you felt forgotten, I was carefully writing the next chapter of your story. There is a reason you have survived every challenge that tried to break you. There is a reason you are still standing after everything you have faced. It is because your story was never meant to end in defeat. The pain was not the conclusion. The waiting was not the destination. The struggle was not the final chapter. I have been leading you toward a breakthrough that carries my fingerprints all over it. So lift your head, my beloved child. Let hope rise again within your heart. Refuse to let fear tell you that nothing will ever change. Refuse to let disappointment convince you that your best days are behind you. A new season is beginning. A new chapter is unfolding. What you have prayed for, cried for, and hoped for is drawing near. Celebrate, not because you understand everything, but because I do. Celebrate, not because every answer has arrived yet, but because the one who holds every answer is speaking to you now. And I am telling you, my beloved child, your breakthrough has arrived. My beloved child, I have heard every prayer you whispered. Not one word escaped my attention. Not one tear fell without me noticing. Not one moment of pain passed by unseen. Even when you felt alone, even when you wondered if your voice was reaching beyond the ceiling, I was listening. I was there in every sigh, every cry, every silent conversation that no one else could hear. There were times when your prayers were spoken with confidence and faith. You lifted your eyes toward heaven and believed that change was coming. But there were also times when your prayers sounded different. They came through trembling voices and weary hearts. Sometimes all you could manage was a simple plea for help. Sometimes you did not even have words. You sat in silence, carrying burdens too heavy to explain. Yet even then, my beloved child, I understood exactly what your heart was saying. I know the moments when disappointment tried to convince you that I had forgotten you. I know the days when you looked at your situation and wondered why nothing seemed to be moving. You watched others celebrate their victories while you remained in a season of waiting. You saw doors opening for them while your own seemed firmly shut. You questioned whether your time would ever come. But I want you to understand something today. My silence was never absence. My delay was never rejection. Just because you could not see my hand moving did not mean I was not working. Imagine a master builder constructing a magnificent house. Before anyone admires the finished structure, there is a long process hidden from public view. Foundations are laid underground. Measurements are taken carefully. Materials are gathered. Plans are reviewed again and again. To an outside observer, it may seem like nothing important is happening. Yet every hidden step is essential to the beauty that will eventually appear. In the same way, I have been building things in your life that required time. Some prayers could not be answered immediately because I was preparing circumstances around you. Some doors could not open yet because I was strengthening you for what waited on the other side. Some blessings needed the right season, the right moment, and the right conditions to produce their greatest impact. My beloved child, I know how difficult waiting can be. Human hearts naturally desire quick answers. You want to see the entire path before taking the next step. But faith often grows strongest when you continue walking even when the destination remains hidden. Think about the countless times I protected you without your knowledge. There were dangers you never saw. There were wrong paths you almost followed. There were situations that looked promising but would have brought unnecessary pain into your life. While you were asking why certain things were not happening, I was guarding you from outcomes you could not yet understand. You may remember specific prayers that seem unanswered even now. Perhaps you still carry questions. Perhaps there are dreams that appear delayed. Yet I ask you to trust me with the pieces you cannot see. The story is not finished. The chapter you are living today is not the final page. I am the God who sees beyond today. I see the connections between events that seem unrelated. I see opportunities before they arrive. I see healing before symptoms disappear. I see restoration before broken things are repaired. I see victory while the battle is still taking place. That is why you must not measure my faithfulness by your current circumstances. Measure it by my unchanging love. Measure it by the countless times I carried you when you were too weak to continue alone. Measure it by the strength you still possess after everything you have endured. My beloved child, every prayer you whispered has been gathered before me. Every hope you entrusted to me remains known by me. Every dream aligned with my purpose is still held securely in my hands. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not abandoned. The answers are closer than you think. The breakthrough I spoke of is not an accident. It is the result of my faithful work throughout every season of your life. So rest your heart. Release your fears. Let go of the belief that your prayers disappeared into silence. I heard them all. And even now, I am responding in ways greater than you can imagine. My beloved child, there is something I want you to understand about the season you have been walking through. Much of what I do begins in places that human eyes cannot see. Before the flower blooms, the seed grows in darkness. Before the tree stretches toward the sky, its roots travel deep beneath the ground. Before the dawn breaks across the horizon, the world sits quietly in the shadows of night. The greatest transformations often begin where no one is looking. You have been tempted to believe that nothing was happening because you could not see immediate results. You looked at your circumstances and measured progress by visible evidence. You searched for signs that your prayers were being answered. You hoped for dramatic changes that would instantly remove every struggle. Yet all the while, beneath the surface of your life, I was working in ways you could not yet recognize. Imagine a farmer planting a seed in fertile soil. After covering it with earth, he does not dig it up every day to check its progress. He trusts the process. He understands that growth takes place underground before it appears above ground. If he judged the seed's future by what he could see in the first few days, he might wrongly conclude that nothing was happening. But deep beneath the surface, life is awakening. Roots are forming. Strength is developing. The future harvest is already beginning. My beloved child, your life has been much like that seed. While you were wondering why doors remained closed, I was strengthening your roots. While you were asking why the answers seemed delayed, I was preparing you for blessings that required greater maturity, greater wisdom, and greater faith. While you felt hidden from the world, I was accomplishing sacred work within you. Many people desire the harvest, but few appreciate the hidden season of preparation. They want the fruit without the roots. They want the victory without the growth. They want the breakthrough without the process that makes the breakthrough sustainable. But I love you too much to give you something before you are ready to carry it. There were lessons that could only be learned in quiet places. There was strength that could only be developed through endurance. There was wisdom that could only emerge through experience. Every challenge you faced was adding something valuable to your life. Every obstacle was teaching you something that would serve you in the season ahead. You may not have noticed it, but you are not the same person you were when this journey began. The difficulties that once overwhelmed you no longer have the same power. The fears that once controlled your thoughts have weakened. The disappointments that once threatened to break your spirit have revealed a resilience you never knew existed. That growth did not happen by accident. I was shaping your character when no one else could see it. I was building courage inside you during moments when you felt afraid. I was teaching you to trust me when circumstances offered no clear answers. I was creating depth within your soul that could never have been formed through comfort alone. Think of a sculptor standing before a block of stone. To an observer, each strike of the hammer may seem harsh. It may appear destructive. Yet the sculptor sees something hidden within the stone. Every strike removes what does not belong. Every careful movement reveals more of the masterpiece waiting inside. In the same way, my beloved child, I have been shaping you. Some experiences felt painful. Some seasons felt confusing. Some losses seemed impossible to understand. Yet even in those moments, I was not harming you. I was revealing the person I created you to become. The hidden work beneath the surface is often the most important work of all. It is where faith takes root. It is where character is refined. It is where strength is established. It is where purpose begins to unfold. That is why you must not despise the seasons that seemed invisible. They were not wasted years. They were not empty chapters. They were not signs of abandonment. They were sacred seasons of preparation. Now, as your breakthrough draws closer, you will begin to see evidence of what has been developing all along. What was hidden will become visible. What was planted will begin to emerge. What was prepared in secret will be revealed openly. So do not focus only on what you can see today. Trust the work I have been doing beneath the surface. Trust the roots I have been growing. Trust the strength I have been building. Trust the plans I have been preparing. For even now, my beloved child, life is rising from places you thought were barren. Hope is growing where you once saw only disappointment. And the breakthrough you have been waiting for is beginning to emerge from the hidden work I have been accomplishing all along. My beloved child, one of the hardest truths for the human heart to accept is that waiting can be a gift. When you are longing for change, when you are praying for relief, when you are eager to move into a new season, waiting often feels frustrating. It can feel like standing still while the rest of the world moves forward. It can feel like watching opportunities pass by while your own dreams remain out of reach. Yet I want you to see your waiting season through my eyes. The waiting was necessary, not because I wanted to withhold good things from you, not because I took pleasure in your struggle, not because I ignored your prayers. The waiting was necessary because I was preparing something greater than you could see, and I was preparing you to receive it. Imagine a young eagle resting in its nest high above the ground. The day eventually comes when it must learn to fly. Yet no loving parent would push the eaglet from the nest before its wings were strong enough to carry it. Strength must develop before flight becomes possible. What feels like delay is often preparation. My beloved child, there were moments when you asked me to move faster. There were times when you wanted immediate answers. You wanted the door to open now. You wanted the breakthrough to arrive now. You wanted the pain to end now. But I could see beyond the present moment. I could see what was coming next. I knew what needed to be built within you before you stepped into the next chapter. Some lessons cannot be learned in comfort. Some strengths cannot be developed in ease. Some forms of wisdom only emerge through experience. The waiting season became a classroom where your faith was growing, even when you did not realize it. Think about how much you have changed during this journey. There was a time when certain disappointments would have completely crushed your spirit. There was a time when certain obstacles would have caused you to quit. There was a time when uncertainty would have filled your heart with fear. Yet look at you now. You have endured storms you never thought you could survive. You have carried burdens that once seemed impossible. You have continued moving forward even when the path was unclear. That growth did not happen overnight. It happened during the waiting. While you were focused on reaching the destination, I was focused on shaping the traveler. While you were praying for a changed situation, I was also transforming your heart. While you were asking for new opportunities, I was helping you become the person who could handle those opportunities wisely. Let me tell you a story. There was once a potter who carefully shaped clay on a wheel. As the clay spun, it could not understand why it was being pressed, stretched, and molded. The process felt uncomfortable. It seemed unnecessary. Yet the potter knew that without shaping, the clay could never become the vessel it was created to be. After the shaping came the fire. The clay entered a furnace where intense heat strengthened it. If the clay could speak, it might have questioned the purpose of the fire. It might have wondered why the process was taking so long. But the potter understood that without the fire, the vessel would remain fragile. It would crack under pressure. It would never fulfill its purpose. My beloved child, there were seasons when you felt like that clay. Life pressed against you. Circumstances stretched you. Challenges tested you. There were moments when the heat felt intense. Yet through every stage of the process, my hands remained upon you. I never abandoned you in the shaping. I never left you in the fire. I never stopped working on the masterpiece I saw within you. What you called delay, I often called development. What you called waiting, I often called preparation. What you called uncertainty, I often called trust building. And now, as you look back, you may begin to understand why certain doors did not open earlier. You may start to see why some opportunities were postponed. You may recognize that if certain blessings had arrived before you were ready, they might have become burdens instead of gifts. The waiting season protected you. The waiting season strengthened you. The waiting season prepared you. So do not regret the time that seemed slow. Do not mourn the months or years when progress felt hidden. Those seasons were not wasted. They were investments into your future. Every prayer, every lesson, every challenge, and every moment of trust was building a foundation strong enough to support what is coming next. My beloved child, the season of preparation is giving way to the season of fulfillment. The lessons learned in waiting are about to reveal their value. The strength developed in hidden places is about to serve a visible purpose. And soon you will understand that what felt like a delay was actually one of my greatest acts of love. My beloved child, the chains are breaking. Even now, as you listen to my voice, things that have held you back for far too long are beginning to lose their grip. Some chains were visible. Others were hidden deep within your thoughts, your emotions, and your memories. Some were formed through painful experiences. Others were built through fear, disappointment, and repeated struggles. Yet regardless of how they were formed, I want you to know that they were never meant to remain attached to you forever. You were not created to live bound by fear. You were not created to carry endless shame. You were not created to be imprisoned by yesterday's failures. You were not created to spend your life believing that your best days are behind you. I created you for freedom. There have been seasons when fear spoke louder than faith. Fear told you that nothing would change. Fear whispered that you would always struggle with the same problems. Fear convinced you to expect disappointment before it arrived. Sometimes fear became such a familiar companion that you hardly noticed its presence anymore. It quietly influenced your decisions, limited your expectations, and tried to keep you from believing in greater possibilities. But my beloved child, fear does not have the final word over your life. I do. There were wounds from the past that tried to become permanent identities. Moments of rejection made you question your worth. Failures made you question your ability. Delays made you question your future. Painful experiences tried to convince you that you were somehow less valuable than others. Yet those experiences were never meant to define you. The voice of your past is not greater than my voice. The mistakes you made are not stronger than my mercy. The disappointments you experienced are not bigger than my plans for you. Imagine a prisoner who has spent years behind locked doors. One day, the cell is opened, but the prisoner remains sitting inside because freedom feels unfamiliar. The door stands open, yet old habits and old fears continue to hold him captive. Many people live this way emotionally and spiritually. The door has already been opened, but they continue believing they are trapped. They continue carrying burdens I never asked them to carry. They continue accepting limitations that I never placed upon them. My beloved child, I am calling you out of that prison. I am calling you beyond the walls that fear built. I am calling you beyond the doubts that have followed you for years. I am calling you beyond the labels that others placed upon you. You are not who your failures say you are. You are not who your fears say you are. You are not who your pain says you are. You are my beloved child. There is power in that truth. There is freedom in that truth. There is healing in that truth. Perhaps one of the heaviest chains you have carried is the belief that you are not enough. No matter how hard you tried, you felt like you were falling short. No matter what you achieved, you focused on what remained undone. You compared your journey to others and felt inadequate. You measured yourself against impossible standards and became discouraged. But listen carefully. I have never required perfection before offering my love. I have never demanded flawlessness before extending my grace. I have never looked at you through the eyes of condemnation. I see your heart. I see your effort. I see your growth. I see the battles you fight that no one else knows about. And I am proud of the strength you have shown through difficult seasons. The chains of self-doubt are breaking. The chains of fear are breaking. The chains of hopelessness are breaking. The chains of guilt are breaking. The chains of discouragement are breaking. Not because of your own strength alone, but because my power is at work within you. Think about how far you have already come. There were moments you thought would destroy you, yet you survived. There were storms you believed would never end, yet you are still here. There were chapters of your story that seemed unbearable, yet somehow you kept moving forward. That was not an accident. That was evidence of my hand sustaining you. And now, the same God who carried you through every previous battle is leading you into greater freedom. Do not be afraid to let go of old pain. Do not be afraid to release old disappointments. Do not be afraid to stop identifying with the wounds of yesterday. Those wounds may be part of your story, but they are not your future. Your future contains freedom. Your future contains healing. Your future contains restoration. Your future contains joy. As your breakthrough unfolds, you will discover that many of the things that once controlled your life no longer possess the same power. The chains that seemed unbreakable will be left behind. The burdens that felt permanent will become lighter. The fears that once shouted will grow silent. So stand tall, my beloved child. Lift your eyes toward the future I have prepared for you. The prison doors are opening. The weight is lifting. The darkness is retreating. And with every step forward, you are walking deeper into the freedom that has always belonged to you. My beloved child, what tried to stop you has failed. There were forces that opposed your progress. There were circumstances that seemed determined to block your path. There were moments when it felt as though every step forward was met with resistance. You experienced setbacks that left you confused. You encountered disappointments that tested your faith. You faced battles that drained your strength and made you wonder how much longer you could continue. Yet here you are. You are still standing. You are still breathing. You are still moving forward. That alone is evidence that what tried to destroy you did not succeed. There were seasons when the opposition seemed stronger than your hope. Problems appeared larger than solutions. Fear seemed louder than faith. You may have even questioned whether you would ever recover from certain experiences. Some wounds cut deeply. Some losses felt unbearable. Some doors closed so suddenly that they left you struggling to understand why. But my beloved child, I want you to see your journey from a different perspective. Not every closed door was a defeat. Not every delay was a loss. Not every setback was a failure. Many of the things you viewed as obstacles were actually redirections. Many of the disappointments that broke your heart were protecting your future. Many of the roads that ended unexpectedly were preventing you from traveling toward destinations that would not have served my purpose for your life. Imagine a traveler walking through a dense forest. The path ahead suddenly becomes blocked by fallen trees. Frustrated, the traveler assumes the obstacle is ruining the journey. What the traveler cannot see is that beyond those fallen trees lies dangerous terrain that would have led to harm. The blockage feels like a problem, but it is actually protection. My beloved child, there were times when I protected you through prevention. You prayed for certain opportunities that never arrived. You pursued certain relationships that never developed. You hoped for outcomes that never materialized. And while you mourned what did not happen, I was quietly guarding you from struggles you never needed to carry. One day you will fully understand how many unseen dangers I guided you around. You will see how many painful situations never reached you because my hand was covering your life. You will realize that what appeared to be rejection was often rescue. The enemy of your peace wanted you to believe that every setback meant you were losing. But setbacks are not the same as defeat. A storm may delay a ship, but it does not determine the ship's destination. Temporary difficulties cannot cancel a purpose that I have established. Think about everything that has already come against you. Think about the seasons when you felt overwhelmed. Think about the moments when you thought your strength had finally run out. Yet somehow, you kept going. You found courage when you thought you had none left. You found hope when circumstances gave you little reason to hope. You found enough strength to take one more step, and then another, and then another. That strength did not come from nowhere. It came from me. I was sustaining you even when you could not feel my presence. I was carrying you through battles that seemed impossible. I was strengthening your spirit when your heart felt weary. Every time you thought you had reached your limit, I supplied what you needed for the next part of the journey. What tried to stop you underestimated the power of my purpose for your life. The obstacles underestimated your resilience. The disappointments underestimated your ability to rise again. The hardships underestimated the strength I was building within you. My beloved child, some people look at scars and see weakness. I look at scars and see evidence of survival. Every scar tells a story. Every healed wound speaks of a battle that did not succeed in destroying you. Every difficult chapter reveals the faithfulness that carried you through. You are stronger than you realize. You are wiser than you were before. You are more prepared than you think. The very battles that were meant to break your confidence have become part of the foundation beneath your feet. The storms that were meant to discourage you have taught you how to stand firm. The opposition that was supposed to stop your progress has actually contributed to your growth. Now I want you to release the belief that your setbacks define your future. They do not. Your failures do not define your future. Your delays do not define your future. Your struggles do not define your future. I define your future. And I am not finished writing your story. The chapter you are entering is not about what almost defeated you. It is about what I brought you through. It is not about what stood against you. It is about the faithfulness that carried you beyond it. It is not about the obstacles themselves. It is about the victory that emerged despite them. So lift your head, my beloved child. Stop measuring your future by the battles behind you. Stop judging tomorrow by yesterday's disappointments. What tried to stop you has failed. What tried to discourage you has failed. What tried to convince you to quit has failed. You are still here because my hand has been upon your life. And now, as your breakthrough continues to unfold, you will discover that every battle you survived was preparing you for a greater victory than you ever imagined. My beloved child, I am opening new doors. There are opportunities ahead of you that you cannot yet fully see. There are blessings approaching that you have not yet imagined. There are pathways forming that will lead you into places you once thought were beyond your reach. The season you are entering is not defined by closed doors and missed chances. It is defined by new beginnings, fresh possibilities, and divine favor working on your behalf. For a long time, you have focused on doors that would not open. You knocked patiently. You prayed faithfully. You hoped persistently. Yet despite your efforts, some opportunities remain beyond your grasp. Some dreams seemed delayed. Some plans failed to unfold the way you expected. I know those moments disappointed you. I know there were times when you questioned whether anything good was waiting ahead. I know there were seasons when every closed door felt personal. But my beloved child, not every door is meant for you. A loving father does not open every door simply because his child desires it. A wise father opens the right doors at the right time. There were doors that looked appealing from a distance, but would have led you away from the path I prepared for you. There were opportunities that seemed perfect but carried burdens you could not yet see. There were directions that appeared promising but would have taken you far from the purpose I placed within your life. When I closed certain doors, I was not punishing you. I was protecting you. When I redirected your steps, I was not rejecting you. I was guiding you. When I delayed certain opportunities, I was not ignoring your desires. I was preparing something better. Imagine a child standing before a locked gate, frustrated because it will not open. The child cannot understand why access is denied. Yet the parent can see dangers on the other side of the gate. The child sees restriction. The parent sees protection. Many times, my beloved child, you saw a closed door and assumed something good was being withheld from you. Yet I could see the full picture. I could see where that path would lead. I could see the heartbreak it might bring. I could see the unnecessary struggles waiting beyond it. Because I love you, I refused to allow certain things into your life. Now the season is changing. The same hands that closed doors for your protection are opening doors for your advancement. The same God who guided you through waiting is now guiding you into opportunity. The same Father who strengthened you in hidden places is now preparing to reveal His favor in visible ways. Do not imagine these new doors as ordinary opportunities. They are doors prepared through my wisdom. They are pathways aligned with my purpose. They are openings created at the proper time, after the necessary preparation has taken place. Some of these doors may appear unexpectedly. A conversation may lead to a new opportunity. A connection may introduce a new direction. An idea may spark a new beginning. A situation that once seemed impossible may suddenly change. What looked unreachable may become attainable. What seemed distant may draw near. That is how I often work. I can create opportunities where none appear to exist. I can make a way through circumstances that seem impossible. I can connect people, events, and moments in ways that no human mind could arrange. Yet as these doors begin to open, I want you to remember something important. Do not let fear keep you from walking through them. Sometimes people pray for opportunities and then hesitate when those opportunities arrive. They ask for change but become uncomfortable when change begins. They desire breakthrough but feel uncertain when breakthrough requires them to step into unfamiliar territory. My beloved child, trust me. If I open a door, I will also provide the strength needed to walk through it. If I call you forward, I will not abandon you halfway. If I lead you into a new season, I will equip you for everything that season requires. You do not need to know every detail before taking the next step. You do not need to have every answer before moving forward. You simply need to trust the one who is leading you. Think of a sunrise. The entire day does not appear at once. Light arrives gradually. First comes the dawn. Then the horizon brightens. Then the sun rises higher and higher until everything becomes clear. The doors I am opening may unfold in a similar way. You may not see the entire journey immediately, but you will receive enough light for the next step. And as you continue trusting me, more will be revealed. So release your attachment to doors that never opened. Stop mourning opportunities that were never meant to define your future. Stop looking backward at what did not happen. Lift your eyes toward what is ahead. A waiting season is giving way to movement. The preparation season is giving way to opportunity. The hidden season is giving way to revelation. My beloved child, I am opening doors that no disappointment can close, no fear can stop, and no obstacle can prevent. Walk forward with confidence. Walk forward with expectation. Walk forward knowing that I go before you. And the doors I am opening are leading you closer to the breakthrough I promised from the very beginning. My beloved child, there is a strength within you that you have not fully recognized. For much of your journey, you have focused on your weaknesses. You have noticed the moments when you felt afraid, uncertain, or exhausted. You have remembered the times when you struggled, when you cried, when you questioned whether you could continue. You have looked at your battles and sometimes assumed they were evidence that you were fragile. But I see something different. I see the strength that was forged in those battles. I see the courage that emerged through your fears. I see the resilience that developed through every challenge you endured. I see a person who has survived far more than they ever imagined possible. My beloved child, if I were to show you your life from my perspective, you would be amazed at how strong you have become. Think about the storms you have already weathered. There were seasons that felt impossible while you were living through them. There were days when the weight on your shoulders seemed too heavy to carry. There were moments when your heart was wounded and your spirit felt tired. Yet despite everything, you kept moving forward. Perhaps not always quickly, perhaps not always confidently, but you kept going. That is strength. Many people misunderstand strength. They imagine it means never feeling fear, never experiencing doubt, and never becoming weary. But true strength is not the absence of struggle. True strength is continuing to move forward even when the struggle exists. A mighty tree does not become strong during calm weather alone. Its roots deepen during storms. Its trunk grows stronger through resistance. The winds that attempt to shake it actually contribute to its development. In the same way, my beloved child, the challenges you faced have strengthened you in ways you cannot yet fully appreciate. The disappointments taught you endurance. The setbacks taught you perseverance. The delays taught you patience. The uncertainties taught you trust. Every difficult season added something valuable to your character. There were qualities I wanted to develop within you that comfort alone could never produce. Think back to a time when you faced a challenge that seemed overwhelming. At the beginning, you may have doubted your ability to endure it. You may have wondered whether you would emerge from it intact. Yet eventually, you made it through. Looking back now, you can see that the experience changed you. It revealed abilities, strengths, and depths of character that had previously remained hidden. That is one of the reasons I never abandoned you during your trials. I knew what those experiences were producing. I knew the person you were becoming. I knew the strength that was being formed beneath the surface. There is a story about a blacksmith who places iron into a furnace. The metal enters soft and unrefined. The heat is intense. The hammer strikes repeatedly. To an observer, the process may seem harsh, yet the blacksmith sees something others do not. He sees the final product hidden within the raw material. Each strike has purpose. Each moment of heat serves a goal. Each stage of the process contributes to the strength of the finished piece. My beloved child, there were moments when life felt like that furnace. There were seasons when challenges came one after another. You questioned why the process seemed so difficult. You wondered when relief would come. But I was never wasting your pain. I was shaping your strength. I was refining your character. I was preparing you for responsibilities and blessings that required a stronger foundation. The breakthrough that is arriving in your life is not only about changing circumstances. It is also about revealing who you have become through the journey. You are stronger than the fears that once controlled you. You are stronger than the disappointments that once discouraged you. You are stronger than the obstacles that once intimidated you. The person who began this journey is not the same person who stands here today. You have gained wisdom. You have gained perspective. You have gained resilience. You have gained faith. Even when you felt weak, I was building strength within you. Even when you felt uncertain, I was creating stability within you. Even when you felt broken, I was carefully restoring and strengthening every part of your life. And now, as new doors begin to open and new opportunities approach, you may wonder whether you are ready. You may question whether you have what it takes to step into the next season. Listen carefully, my beloved child. You are more prepared than you think. The strength you need has already been developing. The courage you need is already growing within you. The wisdom you need has been accumulating through every lesson learned. Do not underestimate what I have accomplished in your life. Do not overlook the growth that has taken place. Do not focus solely on what still needs improvement. Instead, recognize how far you have come. Recognize the strength that survived every storm. Recognize the faith that endured every delay. Recognize the resilience that carried you through every battle. Because the next chapter will require courage, and I have already been building it within you. The next season will require strength, and I have already been preparing it within you. My beloved child, you are not stepping into your breakthrough as the same person who entered the struggle. You are stepping into it stronger, wiser, deeper, and more capable than ever before. And that strength will help carry you into everything I have prepared for you. My beloved child, your joy is returning. I know there have been seasons when joy felt distant. There were days when you smiled for others, but struggled to find peace within yourself. There were moments when responsibilities, disappointments, and worries piled so high that simple happiness seemed out of reach. You carried burdens quietly. You fought battles privately. You continued moving forward, yet deep inside, part of you longed to feel light again. I understand that longing. I understand the weariness that comes from carrying concerns for too long. I understand the exhaustion that comes from hoping through repeated delays. I understand how disappointment can slowly drain the color from life if it remains unhealed. But today, my beloved child, I want you to hear this clearly. The sorrow you have known is not your permanent home. The heaviness you have carried is not your final destination. The season of constant struggle is not the end of your story. Your joy is returning. Not the temporary happiness that depends on perfect circumstances. Not the fragile excitement that disappears when problems arise. I am speaking of something deeper. I am speaking of a joy that grows from knowing you are loved. A joy that survives storms. A joy that remains steady even when life is still unfolding. A joy rooted in my presence. There have been times when you mistakenly believed that joy could only arrive after every problem was solved. You told yourself that once the breakthrough came, once the answer appeared, once the burden lifted, then you would finally be able to rejoice. But my beloved child, joy often begins before circumstances fully change. It begins when hope is restored. It begins when faith awakens again. It begins when your heart remembers that you are not walking through life alone. Imagine a traveler crossing a long desert. For many days the journey feels difficult. The sun is intense. The path seems endless. Fatigue settles into every step. Then one day, the traveler sees signs of water in the distance. The destination has not yet been reached, but hope returns. Strength begins to rise. The knowledge that relief is near changes everything. That is where many of you are today. The breakthrough is drawing near. The answers are approaching. The season is changing. And because of that, hope is rising again. My beloved child, I have watched you endure difficult chapters with remarkable courage. I have seen you continue believing when it would have been easier to give up. I have seen you continue loving despite disappointment. I have seen you continue trusting even when certainty was nowhere to be found. Those acts of faith matter more than you know. Every step you took through hardship was noticed. Every prayer offered in weakness was heard. Every moment you chose hope over despair carried significance. And now I want you to begin releasing the weight of constant worry. Worry has occupied enough of your thoughts. Fear has consumed enough of your energy. Discouragement has taken enough of your attention. You were never meant to carry those burdens forever. Think of a storm that has raged throughout the night. Dark clouds fill the sky. Rain falls relentlessly. The wind shakes everything around it. Yet eventually, the storm passes. The clouds begin to separate. Light breaks through. The same sky that once seemed permanently dark becomes bright again. And the same way your emotional landscape is changing. The clouds of discouragement are beginning to part. The rain of sorrow is beginning to ease. The light of hope is beginning to shine again. You may not see the full sunrise yet, but the first rays are already appearing. Allow yourself to receive that joy. Do not resist it because of past disappointments. Do not fear it because previous hopes were delayed. Do not hold back because you worry something might go wrong. Trust me with your heart. Trust me with your future. Trust me with the parts of your story that are still unfolding. My beloved child, joy is not a reward reserved only for the end of the journey. It is also strength for the journey itself. It refreshes weary hearts. It renews tired spirits. It reminds you that life contains beauty even while challenges remain. There will be laughter again. There will be peace again. There will be moments of gratitude so deep that tears will fill your eyes for entirely different reasons than before. The things that once made your heart heavy will not always carry the same weight. Healing is taking place. Restoration is taking place. Renewal is taking place. And with each step you take into this new season, joy will continue returning to places within you that have felt empty for far too long. So lift your head, my beloved child. Open your heart to hope once more. Refuse to believe that sadness has the final word over your life. It does not. I do. And I am telling you that a brighter season is ahead. The laughter you thought was lost will return. The peace you have been seeking will grow stronger. The joy that seemed distant is finding its way back to you. Your breakthrough is not only changing your circumstances, it is restoring your heart. My beloved child, the harvest season has begun. For so long, you have been planting seeds that seemed to disappear into the ground. You planted seeds of faith when fear surrounded you. You planted seeds of perseverance when quitting felt easier. You planted seeds of kindness when your own heart needed encouragement. You planted seeds of prayer during seasons when answers seemed distant. Again and again, you continued sowing, even when the fields appeared barren. Now I want you to understand something important. No seed planted in faith is ever forgotten. No act of obedience will go unnoticed. No prayer offered with sincerity is wasted. The harvest season has begun. Many people become discouraged because they focus only on what they have not yet received. They look at the remaining challenges instead of recognizing the progress already taking place. They overlook small blessings while waiting for larger ones. Yet harvest often arrives gradually before it becomes abundant. Think about a field ready for harvest. The farmer does not wake up one morning to find every crop fully mature overnight. Growth happens step by step. The signs appear gradually. First, there are indications of change. Then evidence becomes visible. Finally, the abundance that was hidden for so long stands fully revealed. My beloved child, you are entering that kind of season. Some answers are already taking shape. Some opportunities are already approaching. Some prayers are already moving toward fulfillment. Even if you cannot see everything yet, movement is happening. The seeds planted during difficult days are beginning to produce results. The faith developed through waiting is beginning to bear fruit. The strength gained through hardship is beginning to reveal its purpose. You may have wondered whether your efforts mattered. You may have questioned whether your prayers were accomplishing anything. You may have felt tempted to believe that all your endurance was producing little in return. But I tell you today, the harvest season has begun. You are not standing in the same place where you once stood. You are not carrying the same limitations that once held you back. You are not the same person who entered the struggle. Growth has occurred. Preparation has occurred. Transformation has occurred. And now, the results are beginning to emerge. Do not dismiss the small signs of progress. Do not overlook the quiet victories. Sometimes my blessings arrive in ways that seem ordinary at first. A new sense of peace, a renewed perspective, an unexpected opportunity, a timely conversation, a door that begins to open after years of remaining closed. These moments matter. They are often the first evidence that a larger harvest is on the way. Imagine a traveler climbing a mountain. During the ascent, the path feels long and demanding. The destination seems distant. Yet eventually the traveler reaches a point where the view begins to change. The higher perspective reveals how far the journey has already progressed. My beloved child, I want you to pause and recognize how far you have come. Look beyond what still remains unfinished. Look at the strength you have gained. Look at the wisdom you have acquired. Look at the faith that has survived. Look at the obstacles that no longer have power over you. These are part of your harvest as well. The breakthrough you have been waiting for is not only external, it is also internal. It is the person you have become through the process. It is the resilience developed through adversity. It is the trust formed through uncertainty. And there is still more to come. The harvest season is not ending. It is beginning. What I have started, I will continue. What I have planted, I will grow. What I have promised, I will fulfill. So celebrate, my beloved child. Celebrate not because every blessing has already arrived, but because the season has changed. Celebrate because the waiting is giving way to fulfillment. Celebrate because the seeds you planted in tears are preparing to produce joy. And as you rejoice in this breakthrough season, hear my heart in this moment. There are many of my children still searching for hope, still waiting to hear a message that reminds them they are loved. When you sow into this mission through a super thanks, membership, or a PayPal gift through the link in the description or the QR code provided, you become part of a greater harvest of souls. My word is like seed scattered across hungry hearts, and your support helps that seed reach places you may never see. Remember my promise that those who sow generously will also reap generously, and let that truth become alive in your spirit today. This is not merely a contribution. It is an act of faith that helps rivers of encouragement flow into lives that are thirsty for hope. My beloved child, if this message has strengthened you, let your gratitude become a seed for someone else's breakthrough. Every gift becomes another light shining in someone's darkness, another reminder that they are not alone. I am inviting you to take part in this harvest with me. May every seed you sow return with blessings, peace, provision, and favor overflowing into your life. Do not delay what I am placing upon your heart. Step forward in faith, sow your seed, and help carry my message to the next waiting soul. My beloved child, do not fear that change is ahead. I know that for many people, change can feel unsettling. Even when it is a positive change, even when it is the answer to long-awaited prayers, there can still be uncertainty. The familiar, even when imperfect, often feels safer than the unknown. That is why some people spend years praying for breakthrough, yet become nervous when the breakthrough finally arrives. But I want you to understand something important. The changes ahead are not coming to harm you. They are coming to position you. They are not signs that you are losing control. They are signs that I am leading you into something new. For a long time, you have been asking me to move in your life. You have prayed for open doors, greater peace, restored hope, and fresh opportunities. You have asked me to bring healing where there was pain and growth where there was stagnation. Now that movement is beginning, I do not want fear to convince you to remain where you are. Remember this, my beloved child, every breakthrough creates change. A seed cannot become a tree without change. A caterpillar cannot become a butterfly without change. A sunrise cannot arrive without darkness giving way to light. Transformation always involves transition. The reason some people resist change is because they focus on what they might lose instead of what they are about to gain. They look backward at what is familiar rather than forward toward what is possible. They allow uncertainty to become larger than hope. But you do not need to fear what lies ahead because you are not walking into the future alone. I am already there. I stand at the beginning and the end. I see every step before you take it. I know every challenge before it appears. I know every blessing before it arrives. Nothing about your future surprises me. Think about a child learning to walk with a loving father nearby. A child may feel uncertain. The ground feels unfamiliar. The next step feels risky. Yet the father remains close, ready to guide, steady, and encourage. The child's confidence does not come from knowing everything. It comes from trusting the one who is holding them. That is how I want you to approach this new season. Do not demand complete certainty before taking a step. Trust the one who is leading you. Trust the one who has carried you this far. Trust the one who never abandoned you during the difficult seasons. My beloved child, some of the changes ahead may arrive in unexpected ways. You may find yourself thinking differently than before. You may discover new passions and new possibilities. You may encounter people who encourage your growth. You may find opportunities appearing where none existed before. You may even look back one day and realize that your entire perspective has changed. Do not be alarmed by these developments. Growth often feels unfamiliar at first. When a tree grows, its roots expand into new territory. When a river flows, it carves new paths through the landscape. When a person matures, their understanding deepens and expands. Growth requires movement, and movement requires change. Perhaps one of the greatest changes taking place in your life is happening within your heart. The fear that once controlled your decisions is losing its power. The doubts that once seemed overwhelming are becoming quieter. The wounds that once defined your thinking are beginning to heal. That kind of transformation is beautiful. It is evidence that my work within you is continuing. There will be moments when the future feels uncertain. There will be times when you cannot see the entire path. But uncertainty does not mean danger. It simply means you are being invited to trust me one step at a time. Imagine standing beside a river at night. You cannot see the entire shoreline. You cannot see every turn ahead. Yet the light you have is sufficient for the next step. As you move forward, more of the path becomes visible. This is how I often guide my children. I do not always reveal the entire journey at once. I provide enough light for the next step, then another, and before long, you find yourself standing in places you once only dreamed about reaching. My beloved child, do not let fear talk you out of the future I am preparing for you. Do not allow anxiety to keep you attached to old seasons that have already served their purpose. The chapter behind you taught valuable lessons, but it is not where your story ends. Yours more ahead. More growth. More healing. More joy. More opportunity. More purpose. The breakthrough you have been celebrating is not the end of the journey. It is the doorway into a new season of discovery and fulfillment. So release your fear. Release your need to understand everything in advance. Release your attachment to what no longer serves your future. Lift your eyes toward what I am doing. The changes ahead are not your enemies. They are part of the answer to the prayers you have been praying. Walk forward with confidence, my beloved child. I am guiding your steps, and the future unfolding before you carries my fingerprints upon it. My beloved child, let me tell you a story. There was once a small river born high in the mountains. Its waters were clear and full of life, and from the moment it began flowing, it carried a dream within its current. The river longed to reach the vast ocean, far beyond the horizon. As it started its journey, everything seemed easy. The path was open. The water flowed freely. The river danced through meadows, sparkled beneath sunlight, and sang songs of confidence as it moved forward. It believed nothing could stop it. But one day, the river encountered a massive stone. The stone stood directly in its path, large and immovable. The river crashed against it again and again, hoping its force would push the obstacle aside. Yet the stone remained. Days passed. Months passed. The stone did not move. The river became frustrated. Why is this obstacle here? It asked. I only want to continue my journey. I only want to reach my destination. The stone gave no answer. The river tried flowing around it from one side, but another barrier appeared. It tried another route, only to face more resistance. Discouragement began to settle into its waters. At times, the river wondered whether it would ever reach the ocean. Perhaps, it thought, the obstacle was too great. Perhaps the journey was impossible. Perhaps its dream would never come true. But despite its doubts, the river continued flowing. It moved one day at a time, one moment at a time, one drop at a time. The river did not realize it, but something remarkable was happening. Every time it touched the stone, it left a small mark. Every time it flowed against the obstacle, it shaped the surface ever so slightly. The changes were invisible at first, too small to notice, too gradual to measure. Yet they were happening. Years passed. The river kept flowing, and slowly, little by little, the stone began to change. The hard edges softened. Small pathways formed. Tiny cracks appeared. What once seemed completely immovable was being transformed by persistence. Eventually, a channel opened through the center of the stone. The river passed through. Then it continued forward. Then it reached the ocean. My beloved child, you are more like that river than you realize. There have been stones in your path. There have been obstacles that seemed far too large. There have been situations that refused to change as quickly as you hoped. You prayed. You waited. You trusted. Yet sometimes the barriers remained. And like the river, you may have wondered whether your breakthrough would ever arrive. You may have asked why certain challenges lasted so long. You may have questioned why progress seemed so slow. You may have felt discouraged when the obstacles refused to move. But what you could not see was that every faithful step mattered. Every prayer mattered. Every act of trust mattered. Every day you refused to give up mattered. Just as the river slowly shaped the stone, your perseverance has been shaping your future. The progress may have felt invisible. The changes may have seemed insignificant, but they were occurring nonetheless. Many people abandon their journey because they judge progress too quickly. They look at the size of the obstacle and forget the power of persistence. They focus on how far they still need to go instead of recognizing how far they have already come. Do not make that mistake, my beloved child. You are not standing where you once stood. You have grown. You have matured. You have learned. You have become stronger. The obstacle that once seemed impossible no longer looks the same because you are no longer the same person. The waiting changed you. The struggle strengthened you. The journey developed qualities within you that comfort alone could never create. And just like the river, you were accomplishing more than you realized. There is another lesson hidden in this story. The river did not need to become the stone in order to overcome it. It remained true to its nature. It remained water, gentle, consistent, persistent. My beloved child, you do not need to become harsh to overcome hardship. You do not need to become bitter because of disappointment. You do not need to lose your kindness because of struggle. You do not need to abandon your faith because the journey has been difficult. Remain who I created you to be. Continue flowing forward. Continue trusting. Continue believing. The breakthrough is not reserved for those who never encounter obstacles. It belongs to those who refuse to stop moving despite them. Today, some stones are already cracking. Some barriers are already weakening. Some obstacles that once seemed permanent are already losing their power. The path ahead is opening. The channel through the stone is forming. The destination is closer than you think. So when you face resistance, remember the river. When progress feels slow, remember the river. When the obstacle appears larger than your strength, remember the river. Because what persistence accomplished for the river, faith is accomplishing for you. And just as the river eventually reached the ocean it longed for, you too are moving steadily toward the breakthrough I promised. Keep flowing forward, my beloved child. Your destination is drawing near. My beloved child, I am restoring what was lost. There are things you have mourned in silence. There are losses that others may never fully understand. Some were obvious and visible. Others existed deep within your heart. You lost opportunities you once believed would define your future. You lost relationships that meant a great deal to you. You lost time, confidence, peace, and at certain moments even parts of yourself. Loss has a way of making people feel as though something precious has been taken forever. It whispers that what is gone can never return. It tells you that certain chapter can never be rewritten. It tries to convince you that your future must remain smaller because of what happened in your past. But my beloved child, I am not limited by what was lost. I am not restricted by what was broken. I am not defeated by what disappeared. I am the God of restoration. And restoration is one of the most beautiful things I do. Many people think restoration means simply getting back what they once had. Sometimes it includes that. Sometimes doors reopen. Sometimes relationships heal. Sometimes opportunities return in unexpected forms. But my restoration is often even greater than that. I do not merely return you to where you were. I bring healing, wisdom, strength, and growth that could not have existed before. Imagine a forest after a devastating fire. At first glance, everything appears ruined. The landscape looks lifeless. The damage seems overwhelming. Yet beneath the surface, unseen processes are already beginning. New growth emerges. Fresh life rises from the ashes. Over time, the forest becomes vibrant again. What once appeared to be an ending becomes the beginning of something new. My beloved child, some parts of your life have felt like that burned forest. You looked around and saw loss. You saw disappointment. You saw dreams that seemed destroyed. You saw plans that never unfolded. You saw pieces of your story that left scars on your heart. And there were moments when you wondered if recovery was even possible. But I have been working in places you could not see. While you were grieving what was lost, I was preparing what would come next. While you were looking at the ashes, I was nurturing new growth. While you were focused on what had ended, I was already writing a new beginning. There are some losses that taught you valuable lessons. There are experiences that increased your wisdom. There are disappointments that helped clarify your purpose. Though the pain was real, it was not meaningless. I never waste your tears. I never ignore your wounds. I never overlook the things that matter to you. Every hurt is known by me. Every sorrow is seen by me. Every broken place is touched by my compassion. Think about a skilled artisan restoring an old masterpiece. Time may have damaged the painting. Dust may have covered its beauty. Cracks may have appeared throughout the surface. Yet the artisan sees beyond the damage. He sees the value that remains. He patiently restores what has been neglected. He carefully repairs what has been broken. Little by little, the beauty returns. My beloved child, that is how I see you. I do not focus on your broken places. I focus on the beauty I placed within you from the beginning. I see the purpose that remains intact. I see the potential that still exists. I see the future that is waiting to unfold. There are areas of your life where restoration has already begun, even if you have not fully recognized it yet. Your faith has become stronger. Your perspective has become wiser. Your heart has become more compassionate. Your resilience has become deeper. The person standing here today carries strengths that did not exist before the struggle. That is part of the restoration. But there is more. I am restoring hope where disappointment once lived. I am restoring peace where anxiety once ruled. I am restoring confidence where self-doubt once lingered. I am restoring joy where sorrow once settled. I am restoring vision where discouragement once clouded your future. Do not assume that your best days were left behind in a chapter that has already ended. Do not believe the lie that what was lost has permanently reduced your future. I am still writing your story, and the chapters ahead contain blessings you have not yet imagined. Sometimes restoration arrives in familiar forms. Sometimes it arrives in entirely unexpected ways. But when it comes, you will recognize my hand in it. You will see that I was working all along. You will understand that the delay was not abandonment. You will realize that the losses did not have the final word. My beloved child, stop measuring your future by what you have lost. Measure it by the faithfulness of the one who is restoring you. Measure it by my promises. Measure it by my love. Measure it by my power to bring life from places that seem empty. The story is not over. The broken places are not beyond healing. The lost years are not beyond redemption. The dream is not beyond restoration. Lift your eyes and look forward. The God who carried you through every season is restoring more than you can currently see. And what is being rebuilt will stand stronger, deeper, and more beautiful than before. My beloved child, your past does not define your future. There are many people who spend years carrying old chapters as though they are permanent labels. They look at mistakes they made and assume those mistakes define who they are. They remember failures and conclude that failure is their identity. They revisit painful memories so often that those memories begin to shape how they see themselves. But that is not how I see you. I do not look at you and see only your worst moments. I do not define you by your mistakes. I do not reduce your entire story to a single chapter. I see the whole picture. I see where you have been. I see where you are. And most importantly, I see where you are going. My beloved child, there are things in your past that still try to speak to you. Old regrets sometimes whisper that you should have done things differently. Old wounds remind you of people who hurt you. Old disappointments try to convince you that the future will be no different from the past. But listen carefully. The voice of your past is not the voice of your destiny. The pain you experienced is not your identity. The mistakes you made are not your future. You were never meant to live facing backward. Imagine a traveler driving a long road while staring only into the rearview mirror. The mirror has value. It helps the traveler understand where they have been. It provides perspective. It offers lessons. But if the traveler focuses on the mirror instead of the road ahead, progress becomes dangerous and nearly impossible. Many people approach life that way. They spend so much time examining yesterday that they lose sight of tomorrow. They replay old conversations. They revisit old failures. They relive old hurts. And without realizing it, they allow the past to steal opportunities for the future. My beloved child, there is a difference between learning from your past and living in it. I want you to learn from it. I want you to gain wisdom from it. I want you to carry the lessons forward. But I do not want you to remain trapped there. Some of the things you regret have already taught you valuable lessons. Some of the mistakes that once caused pain have helped shape your character. Some of the failures that embarrassed you have developed humility and wisdom within you. The lesson is valuable. The prison is not. There was once a sculptor working on a beautiful statue. As he shaped the stone, pieces continuously fell away. Large fragments dropped to the ground. Smaller pieces followed. If someone only focused on what was being removed, they might assume something valuable was being lost. But the sculptor understood something they did not. The pieces falling away were not destroying the masterpiece. They were revealing it. My beloved child, there are parts of your past that needed to fall away. Old fears, old insecurities, old versions of yourself, old beliefs that limited your growth, old wounds that no longer belong in your future. You are not losing yourself when those things leave. You are discovering who you truly are. That process can feel uncomfortable because familiarity often feels safe. Even painful patterns can become familiar. Even limiting beliefs can become comfortable because they have existed for so long. But comfort is not the same as purpose. Familiarity is not the same as destiny. I did not create you to remain confined by yesterday's limitations. I created you to grow, to heal, to move forward, to become everything I designed you to be. There may be moments when you feel tempted to revisit old failures and judge yourself harshly. When that happens, I want you to remember something. You know your mistakes. I know your potential. You remember where you fell. I see where you are rising. You focus on what went wrong. I focus on what can still become right. That is why hope remains possible. That is why restoration remains available. That is why breakthrough continues to unfold. My beloved child, your future is not determined by what happened to you. It is not determined by who left. It is not determined by who rejected you. It is not determined by opportunities you missed. It is not determined by mistakes you wish you could undo. Your future is shaped by the purpose I have placed within your life. and by the love with which I continue leading you forward. Think about how many times nature demonstrates this truth. Winter does not prevent spring from arriving. A storm does not stop the sunrise. A fallen leaf does not determine the future of the tree. Seasons change. Life renews. Growth continues. And so it is with you. The chapter behind you contains lessons, but it does not contain your destiny. The wounds behind you contain experiences, but they do not contain your identity. The mistakes behind you contain wisdom, but they do not contain your future. Your future remains ahead. Your purpose remains ahead. Your breakthrough remains ahead. So release the need to carry every regret. Release the burden of endless self-condemnation. Release the belief that yesterday has greater power than tomorrow. Lift your eyes toward the road in front of you. I'm leading you into new places. I'm opening new opportunities. I am revealing new possibilities. And as you continue walking with me, you will discover something beautiful. The past that once seemed so powerful will gradually lose its hold, because the future I have prepared for you is far greater than anything you are leaving behind. My beloved child, it is time to believe again. I know there have been moments when believing felt easy. There were seasons when your heart was full of expectation and your faith felt strong. You looked toward the future with confidence. You trusted that good things were ahead. You believed that your prayers would be answered and that your dreams would one day become reality. But then life happened. Disappointments arrived. Doors closed. People let you down. Plans changed you. The waiting became longer than you expected. And little by little, belief became harder. Not because you stopped caring. Not because you stopped hoping. But because repeated disappointment can make even the strongest heart cautious. I understand that. I understand why some parts of you became guarded. I understand why you sometimes hesitate to expect good things. I understand why you occasionally protect yourself from hope because you fear being disappointed again. But my beloved child, I did not create your heart to live behind walls of fear. I did not create you to spend your life expecting the worst. I did not create you to abandon hope because of past experiences. I created you to believe. Not blindly, not foolishly, but courageously. There is a difference between being wounded and being defeated. You have been wounded, but you have not been defeated. You have faced disappointment, but disappointment has not written the final chapter of your story. You have experienced setbacks, but setbacks have not canceled your destiny. The fact that you are still here, still listening, still searching, and still moving forward is evidence that hope remains alive within you. It may have grown quiet. It may have become fragile, but it is still there. And today, I want to breathe new life into it. Imagine a gardener walking through a field after a long winter. The ground appears cold. The trees seem bare. The flowers are nowhere to be seen. To someone unfamiliar with the seasons, it might look as though life has disappeared forever. But the gardener knows better. He understands that life still exists beneath the surface. He knows spring is coming. He knows growth is preparing to return. My beloved child, your faith is often like that field. There have been seasons that felt like winter, moments when hope seemed distant, times when your dreams appeared dormant. Yet beneath the surface, life remained. Your faith remained. Your purpose remained. Your future remained. Nothing essential was lost. The season was simply changing. One of the greatest tricks fear uses is convincing people that yesterday's disappointments guarantee tomorrow's outcomes. Fear says, "It happened before, so it will happen again. Fear says, why risk believing when you might be hurt? Fear says, lower your expectations and protect yourself. But fear is a poor guide. Fear only sees the limitations of the past. I see the possibilities of the future. Fear focuses on previous failures. I focus on future victories. Fear measures what had been. I create what can be. That is why I am asking you to believe again. Believe that healing is still possible. Believe that joy can return. Believe that relationships can improve. Believe that opportunities can appear. Believe that your breakthrough is real. Believe that the story is not finished. There was once a man who carried a lantern through a dark valley. The darkness around him was vast, and the lantern illuminated only a few steps ahead. The man became frustrated because he wanted to see the entire journey. But as he continued walking, something happened. Each step revealed the next, and the next, and the next. The light was never intended to show him the entire road at once. It was intended to help him keep moving. My beloved child, faith often works that way. You may not see the entire future today. You may not understand every detail. You may not know exactly how every prayer will be answered. But you have enough light for the next step. You have enough reason to keep believing. You have enough evidence of my faithfulness to continue trusting. Look at how many times I have already carried you through difficult seasons. Look at how many battles you survived. Look at how many obstacles you overcame. Look at how many moments of strength appeared exactly when you needed them. Those were not accidents. They were reminders of my presence. They were evidence of my care. They were signs that I have been walking beside you all along. So do not allow disappointment to steal your expectation. Do not allow fear to silence your hope. Do not allow past pain to determine future possibilities. Your heart was created for more than survival. It was created for faith. It was created for purpose. It was created to trust me. My beloved child, the breakthrough season you are entering requires a willing heart. It requires the courage to believe that good things can still happen. It requires the faith to look beyond present circumstances and see the possibilities I am placing before you. So open your heart again. Dream again. Trust again. Trust again. Believe again. Because the same God who carried you through every difficult chapter is still writing your story. And the pages ahead contain blessings, opportunities, and moments of joy that are far greater than the disappointments you have left behind. The future is not asking you to carry fear into it. The future is inviting you to carry faith. My beloved child, I am bringing divine connections into your life. One of the greatest misconceptions people carry is the belief that they must walk every part of their journey alone. They assume that strength means handling every burden without help. They convince themselves that asking for support is weakness. They become so focused on surviving that they forget I often work through people. But I never designed you to carry every challenge by yourself. I created you for connection. I created you for encouragement. I created you to both receive and give support along the way. As you enter this new season of breakthrough, I want you to understand that some of the blessings I have prepared for you will arrive through relationships. Not every answer comes through a miracle that appears suddenly from the sky. Sometimes my provision arrives through a conversation. Sometimes my guidance arrives through wise counsel. Sometimes my encouragement arrives through someone who speaks exactly the words your heart needed to hear. I have always used people as part of my plans. There are individuals I place in your path for specific reasons. Some come to encourage. Some come to teach. Some come to strengthen. Some come to challenge you to grow. Some come to help unlock doors you could not open alone. And some come simply to remind you that you are not forgotten. My beloved child, there have been seasons when isolation surrounded you. Perhaps you felt misunderstood. Perhaps you felt like no one truly knew what you were carrying. Perhaps there were times when loneliness settled heavily upon your heart. I saw those moments. I saw the silent battles. I saw the tears that remained hidden from others. I saw the times when you wished someone would simply understand. Even during those seasons, I was not absent. And even when human support seemed limited, I was preparing future connections that would arrive at the proper time. Imagine a single thread lying on a table. By itself, it can accomplish only so much. But when many threads are woven together with purpose, they form something stronger, more beautiful, and more durable. Life often works the same way. I weave people together in ways they cannot always understand at first. Paths cross. Conversations happen. Friendships develop. Partnerships form. And over time, my purpose begins to emerge through those connections. There may be people you have not yet met who will play an important role in your future. There may be friendships waiting just beyond the horizon. There may be mentors, encouragers, helpers, and companions whose paths are being aligned with yours even now. Do not underestimate what I can do through a single relationship. One conversation can change a perspective. One friendship can bring healing. One connection can open a new opportunity. One word of encouragement can renew hope. That is why I want you to remain open to the people I bring into your life. Do not let past disappointments convince you to close your heart completely. I know there have been relationships that caused pain. I know there were times when trust was broken. I know there were moments when people failed to be what you hoped they would be. But do not allow those experiences to become walls around your future. Not everyone who enters your life carries the same intentions. Not everyone who approaches your journey comes to take from you. Some come carrying blessings. Some come carrying wisdom. Some come carrying opportunities. Some come carrying encouragement directly from me. Here is a story about a traveler crossing a difficult mountain range. The journey was exhausting. The path was steep. The traveler believed success depended entirely upon personal strength. Then one day another traveler appeared. They shared supplies. They shared wisdom about the path ahead. They encouraged one another through difficult stretches. Together, they accomplished far more than either could have managed alone. My beloved child, there is wisdom in allowing healthy connections to become part of your journey. You are strong, but strength does not mean isolation. You are capable, but capability does not eliminate the value of companionship. You are resilient, but resilience grows even stronger when supported by encouragement. As your breakthrough unfolds, I am aligning people, moments, and opportunities in ways you cannot yet fully see. Some connections will arrive unexpectedly. Some will develop gradually. Some will surprise you. Yet each one will serve a purpose within the larger story I am writing. At the same time, remember that you are also called to be a blessing to others. The comfort you have received can comfort someone else. The lessons you have learned can guide someone else. The hope you have regained can inspire someone else. Your story contains gifts that extend beyond your own life. That is part of the beauty of divine connections. Blessings flow in both directions. Encouragement multiplies. Strength increases. Hope spreads. My beloved child, stop believing that you must face every challenge alone. Stop assuming that every burden belongs solely on your shoulders. Lift your eyes and remain open to the people I am bringing into your life. The right conversations are approaching. The right encouragement is approaching. The right support is approaching. The right connections are approaching. Trust my timing. Trust my guidance. Trust my ability to place the right people in the right place at the right moment. For the breakthrough I am bringing into your life is not only about changed circumstances. It is also about the people, relationships, and divine appointments that will help you walk confidently into everything I have prepared for you. My beloved child, there were lessons hidden in the battle. When you were living through the difficult seasons, it was not always possible to see them. Pain has a way of narrowing your vision. Struggle often focuses your attention on immediate survival. During those moments, you naturally asked questions. You wondered why certain challenges appeared. You questioned why the road became difficult. You searched for meaning in situations that seemed unfair. I understand those questions. I never condemn you for asking them. I never turned away from your confusion. I walked beside you through every moment of it. But now, as you stand farther along the journey, I want to reveal something important. The battles you faced were never only about the obstacles themselves. Hidden within those struggles were lessons that would become treasures for the rest of your life. The battle taught you things that comfort never could. The struggle revealed strengths you never knew existed. The difficulties uncovered wisdom that would have remained dormant during easier seasons. My beloved child, there was a time when you believed certain challenges would destroy you. The mountain looked too high. The storm seemed too fierce. The burden felt too heavy. Yet somehow, step by step, day by day, you continued forward. Looking back now, can you see how much stronger you became? Can you see how your endurance increased? Can you see how your perspective deepened? Can you see how your faith matured? These are not small things. These are valuable treasures. Imagine a sailor who has spent years crossing calm waters. The sailor may enjoy the journey, but calm seas alone do not create mastery. It is the storms that teach navigation. It is the rough waters that teach resilience. It is the difficult conditions that reveal true skill. In the same way, your challenges taught you things that peaceful seasons alone could never teach. The storms taught you patience. The waiting taught you trust. The disappointments taught you perseverance. The uncertainty taught you dependence upon me. Every battle contained lessons hidden beneath the surface. At the time, you may have focused only on escaping the struggle. That is understandable. Most people naturally want relief when difficulties arise. Yet while you were asking for the battle to end, I was also accomplishing something valuable within you. I was shaping your character. I was strengthening your foundation. I was preparing you for greater responsibilities and greater blessings. There's a difference between receiving a gift and being prepared to steward a gift wisely. Sometimes my greatest work is not in changing the circumstances around you, but in changing the person within you. My beloved child, one of the most important lessons hidden in your battles was the discovery that you are capable of more than you believe. Before certain struggles appeared, you underestimated yourself. You doubted your strength. You questioned your resilience. You wondered whether you could handle difficult situations. Yet the battle revealed what was already inside you. It showed you courage. It revealed determination. It uncovered perseverance. It exposed a depth of faith that had been waiting to emerge. You learned that you could survive difficult seasons. You learned that setbacks were not the end. You learned that hope could remain alive even when circumstances seemed uncertain. These lessons are now part of you. No one can take them away. Another lesson hidden in the battle was compassion. Pain has a unique way of opening hearts. Because of what you have endured, You understand struggles that others may not see. You recognize loneliness. You recognize disappointment. You recognize fear and uncertainty. As a result, you have become more compassionate, more understanding, more patient, more able to encourage others who are walking through difficult seasons. That compassion is a gift. It is one of the beautiful things that emerged from your challenges. Here is a story about a piece of coal buried deep beneath the earth. For years it experiences pressure. Day after day, year after year, the pressure continues. If the coal could speak, it might complain about its circumstances. It might wonder why life feels so difficult. Yet over time, something remarkable happens. The pressure transforms it into a diamond. What seemed unbearable becomes part of a process that creates beauty and value. My beloved child, some of the pressures you experienced were producing something precious within you. Not because I delight in your pain, but because I understand what can emerge from perseverance. I understand what can be formed through endurance. I understand the strength that develops when faith continues despite difficulty. Now, as you look toward the future, I do not want you to view your battles merely as painful memories. I want you to see them as teachers. I want you to recognize the wisdom they provided. I want you to appreciate the growth they produced. The battle may have been difficult. The lessons were valuable. The journey may have been hard. The transformation was real. The struggle may have tested you. The growth was worth it. My beloved child, nothing you endured was wasted. Every challenge contributed something meaningful to your life. Every obstacle carried lessons that are now part of your foundation. And as your breakthrough continues to unfold, you will discover that the wisdom gained through those battles is preparing you to walk confidently into the blessings ahead. The battles are behind you. The lessons remain. And those lessons will help guide you through the beautiful future I am placing before you. My beloved child, lift your eyes higher. For too long, many of your thoughts have been focused on what is directly in front of you. You have examined the obstacles, measured the challenges, and worried about the uncertainties. You have looked at the limitations of your current situation and sometimes assumed those limitations would define your future. But I am calling you to look higher. I am calling you beyond the boundaries of what you currently see. I am calling you beyond the fears that try to narrow your vision. I am calling you beyond the circumstances that seem permanent. My beloved child, perspective changes everything. Two people can stand in the same place and see entirely different things. One person sees only problems. The other sees possibilities. One sees barriers. The other sees opportunities. The difference is not always the situation itself. Often, it is the perspective from which the situation is viewed. That is why I want you to begin seeing your life through a higher perspective. Not through the lens of fear. Not through the lens of disappointment. Not through the lens of past experiences. But through the lens of faith. Think about an eagle soaring high above a valley. From the ground, a traveler may see only a narrow path winding through hills and obstacles. The traveler can view only a small portion of the journey at a time. But the eagle sees much more. It sees the entire landscape. It sees the rivers, the mountains, the forests, and the destination far beyond the horizon. My beloved child, my perspective is higher than yours. I see what you cannot yet see. I see the opportunities that have not yet appeared. I see the connections that are being formed. I see the doors that are preparing to open. I see the blessings that are already moving toward you. When you focus only on present difficulties, it becomes easy to forget that there is a much larger story unfolding. The challenge you face today is not the entire story. The delay you are experiencing is not the entire story. The uncertainty you feel is not the entire story. There is more happening than you currently realize. Imagine standing in front of a giant tapestry. If your face is pressed closely against a single thread, all you will notice is that one small section. You will not understand the overall design. You may even wonder whether there is any pattern at all. But when you step back, everything changes. The colors connect. The shapes emerge. The beauty becomes visible. What once seemed confusing begins to make sense. My beloved child, there are moments when your understanding is limited because you are looking too closely at one part of the picture. You are focused on a single challenge, a single delay, a single unanswered question. Meanwhile, I am viewing the entire tapestry of your life. I know how the pieces fit together. I know where the story is heading. I know how today's struggles connect to tomorrow's blessings. That is why I keep asking you to trust me. Not because I want blind obedience, but because I see farther than you can currently see. There have been times when you assumed certain events were setbacks, only to discover later that they were actually redirections. There were moments when you thought opportunities were lost forever, only to find something better waiting ahead. There were situations that seemed disappointing at first but eventually revealed hidden blessings. Why did that happen? Because your perspective expanded. You were finally able to see what I saw from the beginning. My beloved child, some of the worries you carry today will look very different 1 year from now. Some of the questions that trouble you today will eventually be answered. Some of the situations that seem impossible today will one day become testimonies of my faithfulness. That is why you must not make permanent conclusions based on temporary circumstances. The chapter you are currently living is not the entire book. The page you are reading is not the final ending. The challenge you are facing is not the complete story. Lift your eyes higher. Look beyond the immediate obstacle. Look beyond the current limitation. Look beyond the fear that tries to keep your vision small. There is a larger purpose unfolding. There is a greater plan at work. There is a future being prepared that extends beyond what you currently understand. As your breakthrough continues to unfold, I want you to begin expecting more. Not because of pride, not because of entitlement, but because you are beginning to understand the greatness of the God who walks beside you. I am not limited by the obstacles you see. I am not intimidated by the challenges you face. I am not discouraged by the delays that concern you. I remain faithful. I remain powerful. I remain present. And I remain committed to the purpose I have placed upon your life. So lift your eyes, my beloved child. Lift them above fear. Lift them above discouragement. Lift them above doubt. See yourself as I see you. See your future as a field of possibility rather than a collection of limitations. See your breakthrough not as a distant dream, but as a reality already beginning to unfold. For when you lift your eyes higher, you begin to recognize something beautiful. The God who holds the universe is also holding your future, and that future is brighter, greater, and more wonderful than you have yet imagined. My beloved child, you are entering a new chapter. There comes a moment in every story when the page turns. The previous chapter may have been filled with challenges, lessons, waiting, and growth. It may have contained moments of joy as well as moments of struggle. But eventually, a new chapter begins. The story moves forward. New possibilities emerge. Fresh opportunities appear. The journey continues into territory that has not yet been explored. That is where you are now. You are standing at the edge of a new chapter. Not because everything has become perfect overnight, not because every question has already been answered, but because the season is changing. The chapter behind you served its purpose. It taught lessons. It built strength and developed wisdom. It deepened faith. Now it is making room for something new. My beloved child, one of the hardest things for people to do is release an old season. Even when the season was difficult, it is still familiar. People become accustomed to their routines, their struggles, and even their limitations. The known often feels safer than the unknown. But growth requires movement. A tree cannot remain a seed forever. A river cannot remain at its source forever. The sunrise cannot stay hidden below the horizon forever. Life moves forward, and so must you. There may be parts of you that still feel attached to what has already passed. You remember the disappointments. You remember the setbacks. You remember the moments when things did not work out as planned. Sometimes those memories try to convince you that the future will simply repeat the past. But my beloved child, every chapter is not the same. The lessons of one season prepare you for the opportunities of the next. The strength gained in one chapter equips you for the responsibilities of another. The wisdom earned through previous experiences helps guide future decisions. You are not walking into this new chapter empty-handed. You are carrying everything you have learned. You are carrying the resilience you developed. You are carrying the faith that survived difficult seasons. You are carrying the wisdom gained through experience. All of these things are part of your preparation. Imagine an author writing a beautiful story. If every chapter repeated the exact same events, the story would never grow. There would be no development, no progress, no discovery. But a good story evolves. New characters appear. New opportunities emerge. New adventures unfold. Each chapter builds upon the previous one while moving towards something greater. My beloved child, your life is no different. The chapter ahead contains experiences you have not yet imagined. There are blessings you have not yet encountered. There are opportunities you have not yet discovered. There are moments of joy you have not yet experienced. There are victories you have not yet celebrated. That is why I do not want you looking backward more than necessary. Respect the lessons of the past. Appreciate the growth that occurred. Honor the journey that brought you here. But do not remain there. The road ahead deserves your attention. There is a tendency within human hearts to fear new beginnings because they involve uncertainty. People often ask, what if it does not work out? What if I fail? What if things become difficult again? But there is another question worth asking. What if this new chapter contains answers to prayers you have carried for years? What if it contains opportunities you never thought possible? What if it contains relationships, breakthroughs, and blessings that could not have existed without the preparation of previous seasons? My beloved child, the future is not something to fear. The future is something to walk into with faith. Not because every step will be effortless, but because you will not walk alone. I will be with you in this chapter just as I was with you in every chapter before it. I will guide you. I will strengthen you. I will comfort you. I will provide wisdom when decisions need to be made. I will remain faithful. There was once a traveler who spent years crossing a desert. The journey was long and demanding. The traveler became so accustomed to the harsh landscape that when green fields finally appeared ahead, it felt almost unbelievable. The traveler hesitated. The desert was difficult, but it was familiar. The new landscape was beautiful, but it was unknown. Yet the fields ahead contained everything the traveler had been longing for. My beloved child, do not allow familiarity with old struggles to keep you from embracing new blessings. Do not remain emotionally attached to seasons that have already completed their purpose. Do not let fear convince you to stay where growth has ended. The chapter is turning. The story is advancing. The season is shifting. And you are ready. You are more prepared than you realize. You are stronger than you know. You are wiser than before. You are closer to your breakthrough than ever. So lift your head and step forward with confidence. Leave room in your heart for new possibilities. Leave room in your mind for greater expectations. Leave room in your life for fresh opportunities. My beloved child, the chapter ahead is not an accident. It is part of the beautiful story I have been writing all along. And what awaits you there is worth every lesson, every struggle, and every moment of preparation that brought you to this point. My beloved child, now that you are stepping into a new chapter, there is something important I need you to learn. You must have the courage to receive. Many people know how to pray for blessings, but far fewer know how to receive them. They ask for breakthrough, but when breakthrough arrives, they feel unworthy. They pray for opportunities, but when opportunities appear, they question whether they deserve them. They long for healing, yet when healing begins, they struggle to let go of old pain. My beloved child, I do not want you to spend years asking for what you are afraid to receive. The season ahead will require openness. It will require trust. It will require the willingness to accept what I am placing into your hands. There have been times when disappointment taught you to expect less. After enough delays, you became cautious. After enough setbacks, you lowered your expectations. After enough painful experiences, part of your heart decided it was safer not to hope too much. I understand why that happened. You were trying to protect yourself. You were trying to avoid further hurt. You were trying to survive difficult seasons. But the habits that help people survive one season can sometimes prevent them from fully enjoying the next. A person who spends years in darkness may need time to adjust when the light returns. A person who carries heavy burdens for a long time may struggle to believe those burdens can finally be set down. A person who becomes accustomed to scarcity may find abundance unfamiliar. That is why I am speaking to your heart today. I'm preparing you not only for breakthrough but also for receiving it. Imagine a child standing before a beautifully wrapped gift. The gift was chosen with love. It was prepared specifically for the child. Yet instead of opening it, the child steps back and says, "Surely this cannot be for me." The gift remains available. The love behind it remains real. But the child hesitates because of doubt. My beloved child, there have been moments when you responded to my blessings in a similar way. You questioned whether good things could really happen to you. You wondered whether you were worthy of peace. You doubted whether joy could truly return. You questioned whether new opportunities belonged in your life. But listen carefully. My blessings are not based on your perfection. They are expressions of my love. My favor is not earned through flawless performance. It flows from my heart toward my beloved children. You do not need to become perfect before receiving my goodness. You do not need to achieve enough before accepting my love. You do not need to prove your value before embracing the blessings I place before you. You are already loved. You are already seen. You are already valued. There is a story about a farmer who spent years preparing his fields. He planted seeds faithfully. He worked diligently. He cared for the land through every season. When harvest finally arrived, the fields were overflowing with abundance. But imagine if the farmer stood in the middle of that harvest and refused to gather it because he felt undeserving. How tragic that would be. The harvest was prepared. The work was complete. The blessing was available. Yet the farmer would go home empty-handed simply because he refused to receive. My beloved child, do not allow feelings of unworthiness to keep you from receiving what I have prepared for you. The breakthrough belongs to you. The peace belongs to you. The healing belongs to you. The joy belongs to you. The opportunities belong to you. Not because you earned every detail through your own efforts, but because I delight in blessing my children. One of the greatest acts of faith is learning to receive with gratitude. It takes faith to believe that good things can happen. It takes faith to believe that healing is possible. It takes faith to believe that the future can be brighter than the past. It takes faith to accept what my love is offering. As this new season unfolds, I want you to stop arguing with my goodness. Stop assuming every blessing is meant for someone else. Stop believing that your mistakes have disqualified you. Stop questioning whether you are worthy enough. Instead, begin responding differently. When peace arrives, receive it. When opportunities appear, receive them. When encouragement comes, receive it. When healing begins, embrace it. When joy returns, welcome it. There is no humility in rejecting what I lovingly provide. True humility recognizes the gift and responds with gratitude. My beloved child, I see how often you have focused on what still needs fixing. I see how often you have concentrated on your imperfections rather than my love. But I want you to remember something. A loving father does not wait until his child becomes flawless before offering affection. He gives affection because the child belongs to him. That is how I love you. Not because you have done everything perfectly. Not because you have never stumbled. Not because you have never struggled. I love you because you are mine. And because you are mine, I want you to receive what I am giving. Receive the strength. Receive the healing. Receive the hope. Receive the restoration. Receive the breakthrough. Open your hands. Open your heart. Open your expectations. The season ahead contains gifts prepared specifically for you. Do not let fear reject them. Do not let doubt question them. Do not let old wounds resist them. My beloved child, the courage to receive is part of the breakthrough itself. And as you learn to receive my goodness with gratitude, you will discover that the blessings I have prepared are even greater than you imagined. My beloved child, every tear has a purpose. I know there were moments when your tears felt endless. There were nights when your heart carried burdens too heavy to explain. There were disappointments that left you speechless. There were losses that seemed impossible to understand. There were seasons when the only thing you could do was endure one day at a time. And in those moments, you may have wondered if your pain mattered. You may have asked why the journey had to be so difficult. You may have questioned whether your tears were accomplishing anything at all. But I want you to hear me clearly today. Not one tear was wasted. Not one moment of sorrow escaped my attention. Not one painful experience existed outside the reach of my compassion. I was with you through all of it. I was there when nobody else knew what you were carrying. I was there when you felt misunderstood. I was there when your heart ached for answers. I was there when you cried prayers that words could not fully express. My beloved child, tears are often misunderstood. Many people see them as signs of weakness. They assume tears represent failure or defeat. But tears are often evidence of courage. They reveal that you cared deeply. They show that your heart remained alive despite hardship. They demonstrate that you continued feeling, loving, hoping, and believing even when life became difficult. There is strength in that. There is beauty in that. There is purpose in that. Imagine a farmer standing in a field during a season of planting. The work is demanding. The effort requires patience. The results are not immediate. Yet the farmer continues because he understands something important. The harvest is connected to the planting. What is sown today creates what will be reaped tomorrow. My beloved child, many of your tears became seeds. Seeds of compassion. Seeds of wisdom. Seeds of faith. Seeds of resilience. While you were focused on surviving the moment, something deeper was taking place. The experiences that caused pain were also shaping your character. The struggles that tested your heart were strengthening your spirit. The tears that fell during difficult seasons were watering growth that you could not yet see. There is a reason you understand pain more deeply now. There is a reason you have become more compassionate. There is a reason your faith carries greater depth than before. Your tears helped create those things. Think about how rain works in nature. When clouds release rain, the process can seem unpleasant. The sky grows dark. The ground becomes wet. Visibility decreases. Yet without rain, growth becomes impossible. The very thing that appears inconvenient is often essential to life. In the same way, some of the seasons that felt uncomfortable were nourishing growth beneath the surface. The tears were not the end of the story. They were part of the preparation. There were lessons hidden within those difficult moments that could not have been learned elsewhere. You learn empathy because of pain. You learn patience because of waiting. You learn perseverance because of struggle. You learn trust because there were times when trusting me was the only thing you could do. These lessons are precious. They have become part of who you are. There is a story about a pearl hidden within an oyster. The pearl begins because of an irritation, something uncomfortable that enters the shell. Over time, layer after layer forms around that irritation until something beautiful emerges. Without the discomfort, the pearl would never exist. My beloved child, some of the most beautiful qualities within you emerged through difficult seasons. Your kindness deepened. Your wisdom increased. Your patience expanded. Your compassion grew. Your faith matured. What once felt like pure pain was also producing something valuable. This does not mean I delighted in your suffering. A loving father does not celebrate his child's pain. But I am able to bring beauty from brokenness. I am able to bring purpose from struggle. I am able to bring growth from seasons that seemed barren. That is one of the ways my love works. Even now, some of the tears you shed years ago are producing fruit in your life. The strength you carry today grew from those experiences. The wisdom you possess today grew from those lessons. The resilience you rely upon today developed through those challenges. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was forgotten. Nothing was beyond my ability to redeem. My beloved child, I know there may still be memories that cause sadness. There may still be wounds that are healing. There may still be questions that remain unanswered. Bring them to me. You do not need to carry them alone. Allow me to continue restoring the places that were hurt. Allow me to continue healing the areas that became weary. Allow me to continue transforming sorrow into strength. The tears were real. The pain was real. The struggle was real. But so is the growth. So is the healing. So is the restoration. And so is the breakthrough that is unfolding before you. One day you will look back and see what I saw all along. You will understand that every tear mattered. You will recognize how deeply I was working even when you could not see it. And you will discover that the tears which once seemed to represent loss became part of the beautiful story of how I led you into greater strength, greater wisdom, and greater joy. My beloved child, every tear had a purpose. And now, a season of healing and renewed hope is rising where those tears once fell. My beloved child, my promises never expire. There are promises I placed in your heart long ago. Some arrived through prayer. Some came during quiet moments of reflection. Some appeared as dreams, hopes, and deep convictions that refused to disappear no matter how much time passed. You carried them through different seasons. You protected them during difficult days. You held on to them even when circumstances seemed to suggest otherwise. Yet if enough time passes, the human heart can begin to wonder. You may ask yourself, did I hear correctly? You may wonder, is it too late now? You may question, has that opportunity passed forever? My beloved child, I want you to understand something that can transform your perspective. Time does not weaken my promises. Delays do not cancel my promises. Difficulties do not erase my promises. And circumstances do not limit my promises. What I have spoken remains true. What I have planted remains alive. What I have begun remains under my care. Human beings often measure possibility by calendars. They look at the passing years and assume that certain opportunities have expired. They look at delays and conclude that the dream is finished. They focus on what did not happen according to their schedule and begin to lose hope. But I do not operate according to human limitations. I see the beginning and the end at the same time. I understand the timing of every season. I know when preparation is complete. I know when opportunities are ready. I know when hearts are prepared. And I know when promises are ready to unfold. Imagine a seed buried deep in the soil. For months, it appears inactive. To an observer, nothing seems to be happening. The ground looks unchanged. The surface reveals no evidence of growth. Yet beneath the soil, life is still present. Development continues. Preparation continues. The seed has not died. The process is still unfolding. My beloved child, some promises in your life are like that seed. You cannot always see the progress. You cannot always measure the growth. You cannot always understand the timing. But that does not mean nothing is happening. It simply means the process is continuing beneath the surface. There was once a builder constructing a magnificent bridge across a wide river. For a long time, people only saw workers laying foundations. The progress appeared slow. Some observers became impatient. Others questioned whether the bridge would ever be completed. What they could not see was that the most important work was happening beneath the waterline. The hidden foundation would eventually support everything above it. Without that foundation, the bridge could never fulfill its purpose. My beloved child, many of my promises require foundations. They require preparation. They require growth. They require timing. A delay does not mean abandonment. The waiting does not mean failure. The process does not mean the promise has disappeared. In fact, some of the promises you nearly gave up on are closer than you realize. One reason people become discouraged is because they focus more on the length of the journey than on the faithfulness of the one leading them. They measure the distance still remaining. They count the years. They compare their timeline to someone else's. And slowly, hope begins to fade. But I am inviting you to shift your focus. Do not measure your future by the length of the wait. Measure it by my faithfulness. Look at how many times I have already carried you. Look at how many doors I have already opened. Look at how many battles I have already brought you through. Look at how many prayers I have already answered. My track record speaks for itself. I have never abandoned you. I have never forgotten you. I have never lost sight of the purpose I placed within your life. There is a beautiful truth I want you to remember. A delayed promise is not the same as a broken promise. Those two things are very different. A promise delayed may still be unfolding. A promise delayed may still be preparing. A promise delayed may still be moving toward fulfillment. My beloved child, some of the things you have prayed for are being arranged in ways you cannot yet fully understand. Connections are being aligned. Doors are being prepared. Circumstances are being shaped. Lessons are being completed. Foundations are being strengthened. All of these things matter. All of these things serve a purpose. Think about the sunrise. No matter how dark the night becomes, the dawn continues moving closer. The darkness may seem long, but it cannot prevent morning from arriving. The same is true of my promises. Temporary delays cannot permanently stop what I have ordained. Temporary obstacles cannot permanently block what I have prepared. Temporary uncertainty cannot permanently erase what I have spoken. My beloved child, stop treating your dreams as though they have expired. Stop assuming that time hath defeated possibility. Stop believing that delays have greater power than my promises. Lift your eyes. Renew your expectation. Strengthen your faith. The God who began this journey with you is still guiding it. The God who carried you through previous seasons is still working. The God who spoke hope into your heart has not changed his mind. My promises remain alive. My plans remain active. My faithfulness remains constant. And as your breakthrough continues unfolding, you will begin to see that what seemed delayed was never forgotten. It was simply waiting for the perfect moment to bloom. My beloved child, trust me. The promise still lives, and the future I have prepared for you is still on its way. My beloved child, the light is brighter than the darkness. There were seasons when darkness seemed overwhelming. Not necessarily the darkness of night, but the darkness of uncertainty, fear, disappointment, and waiting. There were moments when questions seemed larger than answers. There were times when hope felt distant and the future appeared unclear. You looked around and wondered when things would change. You searched for signs of progress and struggled to find them. I know those moments. I was there through every one of them. I saw the battles you fought within your mind. I saw the worries that tried to steal your peace. I saw the doubts that attempted to weaken your faith. And I want you to know something today. The darkness never had more power than my light. Not for a single moment. Darkness often creates the illusion that it is stronger because it draws attention to itself. When a room is dark, people naturally notice the absence of light. When difficulties arise, people naturally focus on the challenge. When uncertainty appears, people naturally concentrate on what they do not know. But darkness has a limitation. It cannot create anything. It can only exist where light appears absent. The moment light enters the room, darkness begins to retreat. It has no choice. It cannot negotiate. It cannot resist. It cannot remain where light is shining. My beloved child, there were times when your circumstances seemed dark, but my light was still present. Even when you could not feel it. Even when you could not see it. Even when you questioned whether it was there. My light remained. Think about the dawn. During the deepest hours of the night, it may appear as though darkness will last forever. The world grows quiet. The horizon remains hidden. Yet even then, the sunrise is already moving closer. The darkness cannot stop it. The darkness cannot delay it. The darkness cannot defeat it. Morning always comes. In the same way, there were seasons when you thought your breakthrough might never arrive. The waiting felt long. The answers seemed delayed. The obstacles appeared stubborn. Yet all the while, your dawn was approaching. The breakthrough was moving closer. The healing was developing. The restoration was unfolding. You simply could not see it yet. My beloved child, many of the fears that troubled you were shadows. They appeared large because they stood between you and the light. Fear often exaggerates problems. It magnifies obstacles. It convinces people that difficulties are permanent. But shadows only exist because light is present somewhere nearby. And I am that light. When fear told you the future would never improve, my light remained. When disappointment told you to give up, my light remained. When uncertainty whispered that nothing would change, my light remained. There is a story about a traveler crossing a forest at night. The path seemed frightening because every shadow appeared dangerous. Every sound seemed threatening. Every movement created anxiety. But when morning arrived, the traveler discovered something surprising. Many of the things that caused fear during the night were harmless. The shadows looked larger than they really were. The obstacles looked more intimidating than they actually were. The darkness had distorted the perspective. My beloved child, some of the things that worried you most will one day look very different in the light of understanding. Some fears will lose their power. Some questions will receive answers. Some concerns will reveal themselves to have been much smaller than they first appeared. Because my light reveals truth. My light brings clarity. My light restores perspective. One reason your breakthrough is so important is because it reminds you that darkness is never the final chapter. The storm eventually passes. The night eventually ends. The winter eventually gives way to spring. And every difficult season eventually reaches its conclusion. That does not mean the journey is always easy. But it does mean hope remains justified. It means faith remains worthwhile. It means the future remains filled with possibility. My beloved child, I want you to stop giving darkness more authority than it deserves. Do not allow temporary circumstances to define permanent conclusions. Do not let present struggles convince you that tomorrow will look the same. Do not let fear speak louder than my promises. Lift your eyes and remember who walks beside you. The one guiding you is greater than every obstacle. The one strengthening you is greater than every fear. The one protecting you is greater than every challenge. The one loving you is greater than every disappointment. That truth changes everything. As you continue moving forward, there will still be moments when uncertainty appears. There may still be challenges to overcome. There may still be questions waiting for answers. But now you know something important. The darkness is not winning. The darkness is not permanent. The darkness is not stronger than the light. Your breakthrough is proof of that. Your growth is proof of that. Your survival is proof of that. Your restored hope is proof of that. My beloved child, the light has always been greater. And as this new season continues unfolding, you will see more clearly than ever before that the darkness never had the final word. I do. And my word over your life is hope, healing, restoration, purpose, and breakthrough. The light is shining. The dawn is here. And the future before you is brighter than you can currently imagine. My beloved child, there are unexpected blessings on the horizon. One of the beautiful things about my love is that I often work in ways that surprise you. You make plans based on what you can see. You imagine outcomes based on your current understanding. You expect certain doors to open and certain paths to unfold. Yet I see beyond the limits of human vision. I see opportunities you cannot yet imagine. I see solutions that have not yet entered your thoughts. I see blessings that are already moving toward you, even though you have not recognized them yet. Many people become discouraged because they expect their breakthrough to arrive in one specific form. They become attached to a particular outcome. They decide exactly how the answer should appear. Then when events unfold differently, they initially struggle to recognize my hand at work. But my beloved child, some of my greatest blessings arrive disguised as surprises. They arrive through unexpected conversations. They arrive through unforeseen opportunities. They arrive through doors you never planned to knock on. They arrive through paths you never intended to walk. And when they come, you often look back and realize that my plan was far greater than the one you originally imagined. Think about a traveler who sets out toward a destination with a detailed map. Along the journey, a road closure forces the traveler to take a different route. At first, frustration sets in. The traveler assumes the detour is a problem. Yet as the journey continues, the traveler discovers breathtaking landscapes, valuable experiences, and opportunities that would never have been encountered on the original road. What first appeared to be an inconvenience becomes a gift. My beloved child, there were times when life took unexpected turns and you viewed them as setbacks. You thought certain delays were disappointments. You believed certain detours were mistakes. Yet now you can see how some of those changes led you toward growth, wisdom, and opportunities you would never have discovered otherwise. That is one of the reasons I ask you to trust me, not because every detail makes sense immediately, but because I can see what lies beyond the next turn. There are blessings approaching your life right now that you have not yet anticipated. Some will arrive through relationships. Some will arrive through opportunities. Some will arrive through moments of clarity and understanding. Some will arrive through answers to prayers you have almost forgotten. And some will arrive in forms so unexpected that they will leave you amazed at my creativity. My beloved child, do not limit me to your current expectations. Do not assume that your imagination defines the boundaries of what I can do. You may be expecting a single stream, while I am preparing a river. You may be looking for one open door, while I am preparing several. You may be hoping for one answer, while I am arranging multiple blessings at the same time. I am not restricted by your previous experiences. I am not limited by what has happened before. I am not confined by human possibilities. Imagine a child standing on the shore of a vast ocean while holding a small cup of water. The child assumes the cup represents abundance because it is all that can currently be seen. Yet beyond the shoreline stretches a vast body of water far beyond anything the child could contain. My beloved child, sometimes your expectations resembled that small cup. You ask for enough to survive. You hope for enough to get by. You pray for just enough relief to continue. Meanwhile, I see possibilities far beyond those expectations. I see restoration where you expected recovery. I see abundance where you expected provision. I see transformation where you expected improvement. I see purpose where you expected survival. The future I am preparing is not merely about meeting your needs. It is about revealing the depth of my faithfulness. There will be moments in the days ahead when unexpected favor appears. You will encounter opportunities that seem perfectly timed. You will experience answers that arrive in ways you did not predict. You will witness connections that feel divinely arranged. And when those moments occur, I want you to remember this conversation. Remember that I told you to expect the unexpected. Remember that I invited you to expand your vision. Remember that I encouraged you not to limit what I can do. One of the greatest barriers to receiving unexpected blessings is believing that you already know exactly how everything must unfold. Leave room for surprise. Leave room for wonder. Leave room for possibilities beyond your current understanding. The breakthrough you are experiencing is not a small event. It is part of a larger unfolding story. And within that story are blessings you have not yet seen, opportunities you have not yet imagined, and moments of joy that have not yet arrived. My beloved child, Keep your heart open. Keep your expectations alive. Keep your faith active. Do not become so focused on one possible answer that you miss the greater blessing approaching from another direction. The horizon before you contains more than you currently realize. The future before you contains more than you currently see. And the God who has carried you this far is preparing surprises that will remind you once again that my goodness is greater than your expectations, my wisdom is greater than your plans, and my blessings are often more beautiful than anything you could have imagined on your own. My beloved child, peace is becoming your new foundation. For a long time, you have lived through seasons where uncertainty tried to dominate your thoughts. Questions demanded answers. Challenges demanded attention. Worries attempted to occupy every corner of your mind. There were days when it felt difficult to rest because your heart remained busy carrying concerns about tomorrow. I understand those seasons. I know what it feels like when your thoughts race ahead of you. I know what it feels like when fear tries to convince you that you must solve everything immediately. I know what it feels like when the weight of responsibility becomes heavy. But I want you to hear me clearly today. You were never created to build your life upon anxiety. You were never designed to make fear your foundation. You were never intended to carry every burden alone. I created you for peace. Not a fragile peace that disappears when problems arise. Not a temporary peace that depends on perfect circumstances, but a deeper peace, a stronger peace, a peace rooted in trust. My beloved child, one of the greatest signs that your breakthrough is arriving is not merely what changes around you. It is what changes within you. There comes a moment when panic begins to lose its power. There comes a moment when fear no longer controls every decision. There comes a moment when your heart begins to rest in my faithfulness. That moment marks the beginning of true peace. Imagine a lighthouse standing on a rocky shoreline during a storm. Waves crash against the coast. Winds howl through the night. Rain falls heavily. Everything around the lighthouse appears chaotic. Yet the lighthouse remains steady. It does not move with every wave. It does not collapse because of every gust of wind. It stands firm because its foundation is secure. My beloved child, I want your heart to become like that lighthouse, not untouched by life's storms, but steady through them, not free from challenges, but anchored despite them, not dependent on perfect circumstances, but grounded in my presence. There were times when every unexpected problem seemed capable of stealing your peace. One difficult conversation could affect your entire day. One disappointment could occupy your thoughts for weeks. One delay could cause you to question everything. But you are changing. The journey has been transforming you. The lessons have been strengthening you. The faith you develop through waiting is creating stability within your spirit. You are beginning to understand something important. Peace does not come from controlling every circumstance. Peace comes from trusting the one who holds every circumstance. Think about a child riding in a car with a loving parent. The child does not know every turn in the road. The child does not understand every detail of the journey. The child cannot predict every mile ahead. Yet the child rests. Why? Because trust replaces the need for complete understanding. My beloved child, that is the kind of peace I want to cultivate within you. A peace that trusts even when answers are incomplete. A peace that remains steady even when circumstances fluctuate. A peace that remembers my faithfulness during uncertain moments. One reason fear loses its power is because experience teaches valuable lessons. You have already survived things you once thought would destroy you. You have already endured storms you believed were impossible. You have already witnessed my provision during seasons when resources seemed limited. Those experiences matter. They become reminders. They become evidence. They become anchors for your faith. Every previous victory whispers a message into your future. It says you survived before. It says you were carried before. It says you were helped before. And because I remain faithful, those truths continue. My beloved child, there will always be things you cannot control. You cannot control every outcome. You cannot control every person. You cannot control every circumstance. But you do not need to. You are not responsible for carrying the entire world. You are responsible for trusting me with it. A trust creates a peace. As your breakthrough unfolds, I want you to begin releasing burdens that never belonged on your shoulders. Release the fear of what might happen. Release the anxiety about things you cannot change. Release the pressure to solve every problem immediately. Release the need to understand every detail before moving forward. You do not need perfect clarity to have peace. You only need confidence in the one who guides your path. There is a river that flows steadily through changing landscapes. Sometimes it passes mountains. Sometimes it passes valleys. Sometimes it moves through forests. Sometimes through deserts. The scenery changes. The river continues. Its movement is not determined by every obstacle it encounters. It keeps flowing toward its destination. My beloved child, let your peace become like that river. Let it continue flowing through changing circumstances. Let it remain steady through different seasons. Let it be sustained by trust rather than controlled by fear. The breakthrough I am bringing into your life is not only about answered prayers and open doors. It is also about establishing a new foundation beneath your feet. A foundation of confidence. A foundation of trust. A foundation of peace. And from that foundation, you will be able to walk into the future with greater strength than ever before. So rest your heart, my beloved child. The storms are not in charge. The fears are not in charge. The uncertainties are not in charge. I am. And because I am with you, peace is becoming your new foundation. My beloved child, your testimony is being written. Right now, you may see only pieces of the story. You remember the struggles because they were difficult. You remember the waiting because it felt long. You remember the disappointments because they wounded your heart. When people are living through a chapter, they often focus on the challenges within it rather than the purpose behind it. But I see the entire story. I see the beginning. I see the middle. I see the ending. And I want you to know that what you have been through is becoming part of a testimony that will inspire others, strengthen others, and remind others that breakthrough is possible. My beloved child, there are people who will one day draw courage from your journey. There are people who will find hope because of what you survived. There are people who will continue moving forward because they hear how I carried you through difficult seasons. You may not realize it now, but your story contains value far beyond your own life. Every battle taught you something. Every storm revealed something. Every setback developed something. And every victory now carries meaning because of the struggles that came before it. Imagine reading a book where the main character never faced a challenge. No obstacles. No difficulties. No moments of uncertainty. The story would be short. It would lack depth. It would contain little inspiration. What makes a story powerful is not the absence of struggle. It is the triumph through struggle. It is the courage displayed during difficulty. It is the perseverance that continues despite obstacles. My beloved child, your story contains those elements. You continued when quitting seemed easier. You trusted when answers were unclear. You hoped when circumstances were discouraging. You survived seasons that looked impossible. That matters. Those moments are becoming part of your testimony. There was once a traveler who crossed a dangerous mountain path. The journey was exhausting. The climb was steep. There were moments when the traveler doubted whether reaching the summit was even possible. Eventually, after much effort, the traveler reached the top. From that position, something remarkable happened. The traveler could see others beginning the same difficult climb. And because the traveler had already walked the path, encouragement became possible. Warnings could be given. Wisdom could be shared. Hope could be offered. The traveler's experience became valuable to those still on the journey. My beloved child, some of the things you endured are preparing you to encourage others. The comfort you received will become comfort you can share. The wisdom you gained will become wisdom you can offer. The hope restored within your heart will become hope you can help restore in someone else's life. That is part of the beauty of redemption. The pain does not get the final word. The struggle does not get the final word. The difficulty does not get the final word. Instead, growth emerges. Wisdom emerges. Compassion emerges. Purpose emerges. There may have been times when you asked me, why am I going through this? Sometimes the full answer only becomes clear later. Sometimes understanding arrives after the season has passed. Sometimes meaning becomes visible only when you look back. And when that moment comes, you begin to see how many pieces were working together. You recognize lessons that seemed hidden. You understand growth that seemed invisible. You notice blessings that were forming behind the scenes. My beloved child, one day you will look back at this chapter and realize that what felt like endless waiting was actually preparation. You will see that what appeared to be setbacks were often redirections. You will recognize that what looked like silence was actually my steady work beneath the surface. And that realization will strengthen your testimony. A testimony is not merely a story about survival. It is a story about faithfulness. It is a story about what happened because I was present. It is a story about how hope remained alive. It is a story about how breakthrough arrived. Your testimony is already being written. Every lesson becomes a sentence. Every victory becomes a paragraph. Every breakthrough becomes a chapter. And the story is beautiful because it reveals my faithfulness through every season. Do not underestimate the value of your journey. Do not dismiss the importance of what you have overcome. Do not assume that your experiences are ordinary. The strength you carry today was earned through real battles. The wisdom you possess today was gained through real lessons. The peace you are developing today was formed through real trust. These things matter. They are treasures. As your breakthrough continues unfolding, I want you to view your life differently. Stop seeing only the hardships. Start recognizing the story. Stop focusing only on the obstacles. Start recognizing the growth. Stop concentrating only on the delays. Start recognizing the preparation. Because your testimony is not primarily about what happened to you. It is about what I brought you through. It is about the faithfulness that sustained you. It is about the hope that survived. It is about the breakthrough that arrived. My beloved child, your story is becoming a beacon for others. And the chapters still ahead will reveal even more of my goodness, more of my faithfulness, and more of the beautiful purpose I have been weaving into your life all along. My beloved child, do not grow weary now. You have come too far to surrender to discouragement. You have traveled through too many storms to allow doubt to steal your confidence. You have overcome too many obstacles to stop believing now. The breakthrough you have been waiting for is not a distant dream. It is already unfolding. The season is already changing. The answers are already moving closer. Yet I know something about the human heart. Sometimes the final stretch of a journey can feel surprisingly difficult. Sometimes people become tired just before reaching the destination. Sometimes they grow discouraged because the waiting lasted longer than expected. Sometimes they mistake temporary fatigue for permanent defeat. That is why I am speaking to you today. Do not grow weary now. Do not allow exhaustion to convince you that progress has stopped. Do not let temporary emotions become permanent conclusions. My beloved child, there is a difference between being tired and being defeated. You may feel tired. You may need rest. You may need encouragement. You may need renewed strength. But tired is not the same as defeated. The fact that you feel weary does not mean you are losing. The fact that the journey has been long does not mean the destination has disappeared. The fact that progress feels slow does not mean nothing is happening. Think about a runner participating in a long race. During the final miles, fatigue begins to appear. The body feels the effort. The muscles feel the strain. Every step requires determination. Yet something important is also true. The runner is closer to the finish line than ever before. The weariness does not mean failure. It means the journey has been significant. It means progress has already occurred. It means the goal is drawing near. My beloved child, some of your weariness comes from how much you have carried. You have carried responsibilities. You have carried concerns. You have carried hopes, prayers, and expectations. You have fought battles that others never saw. You have remained strong during moments when you felt fragile. I know the effort it has taken. I know the energy it required. I know the courage it demanded. And I am proud of you. Not because you handled everything perfectly. Not because you never struggle. But because you kept moving forward. There were moments when giving up would have seemed easier. Yet you continued. There were seasons when answers felt far away. Yet you continued. There were days when hope felt difficult. Yet you continued. That persistence matters. There is a story about a miner searching for treasure deep beneath the earth. Day after day, the miner dug through hard rock. Progress seemed slow. Results were difficult to see. Eventually, frustration began to grow. The miner considered quitting. The effort felt overwhelming. The reward seemed uncertain. What the miner did not know was that the treasure lay only a short distance ahead. One more section of rock. One more layer. One more effort. The breakthrough was closer than it appeared. My beloved child, many people abandon hope because they cannot see how close they are to the answer. They focus on their fatigue. They focus on the struggle. They focus on what remains unfinished. Meanwhile, they fail to recognize how much progress has already been made. I do not want you to make that mistake. Look at how far you have come. Look at the strength you have developed. Look at the wisdom you have gained. Look at the healing that has already begun. Look at the doors that are starting to open. Look at the peace that is beginning to grow. These are not signs of defeat. They are signs of progress. They are evidence that the breakthrough is unfolding. My beloved child, one reason I keep reminding you to celebrate is because celebration shifts your focus. It reminds you of my faithfulness. It helps you recognize what has already been accomplished. It strengthens your perspective during the final stages of waiting. You do not need to carry the future alone. You do not need to force every outcome. You do not need to solve every problem. You simply need to keep walking with me, step by step, day by day. Well, in that moment, I will provide strength for today's journey. I will provide wisdom for today's decisions. I will provide peace for today's challenges. You do not need tomorrow's strength today. You only need enough of the next step, and I will provide it. There is a beautiful truth I want you to remember whenever discouragement appears. The same God who carried you through every previous season is still carrying you now. The same God who provided before will provide again. The same God who opened doors before can open new doors again. The same God who healed before can restore again. I have not changed. My love has not changed. My promises have not changed. My faithfulness has not changed. So do not grow weary, my beloved child. Rest when necessary. Pause when needed. But do not surrender your hope. Do not abandon your faith. Do not walk away from the promise. You are closer than you realize. The dawn is brighter than ever. The breakthrough is nearer than ever. And the future I have prepared is waiting just beyond the horizon. Keep moving forward. Keep trusting. Keep believing. For the story I am writing is not ending in weariness. It is leading toward fulfillment, joy, and the celebration of a breakthrough that has already begun. My beloved child, the breakthrough is bigger than you imagine. Throughout much of this journey, you have prayed according to what you could see. You hoped according to what seemed possible. You dreamed according to the limits of your current understanding. That is natural. Human hearts often build expectations around familiar experiences. They imagine solutions based on previous outcomes. They envision blessings according to what they believe can realistically happen. But I am not limited by human expectations. I am not restricted by what seems likely. I am not confined by what appears possible. My beloved child, many times you have asked me for a cup of water while I was preparing a river. You have prayed for a single door to open while I was arranging an entirely new path. You have hoped for enough strength to survive while I was preparing to help you thrive. The breakthrough ahead is not merely about solving a problem. It is about revealing my goodness in ways that exceed your expectations. There is a tendency within the human heart to think small after enduring disappointment. When people experience delays, they begin lowering their expectations. When prayers seem unanswered, they become cautious. When challenges continue for a long time, they start hoping for less simply to avoid future disappointment. I understand why that happens. But I do not want you living with a small vision of what is possible. I want you to remember who is speaking to you. I am the one who creates pathways where none seem to exist. I am the one who brings life into places that appear barren. I am the one who opens doors that no obstacle can permanently close. I am the one who specializes in possibilities that others overlook. Think about a child standing on the shore of the ocean for the very first time. Before seeing the ocean, the child may have believed that a lake represented the largest body of water imaginable. The child's understanding was limited by experience. Then suddenly the horizon opens. The vastness becomes visible. The child realizes there was far more than previously understood. My beloved child, some of your expectations have been shaped by limited experiences. You have seen enough to believe, but you have not seen enough to fully understand what I am capable of doing. There is more. There is always more. More healing than you expected. More peace than you imagined. More restoration than you anticipated. More joy than you thought possible. More purpose than you previously recognized. The breakthrough I am bringing into your life is not simply about returning you to where you were before the struggle. It is about leading you into a place of greater strength, greater wisdom, and greater blessing than you had before. Imagine a gardener planting a tiny seed. Looking at the seed alone, it is difficult to imagine the beauty hidden inside. Yet within that small beginning exists the potential for branches, leaves, flowers, fruit, and abundance. The seed contains more than it appears to contain. My beloved child, many of the things happening in your life right now are seeds. Small signs of progress, small moments of healing, small opportunities, small shifts in perspective. At first glance, they may seem ordinary, but hidden within them are possibilities much larger than you realize. Do not dismiss small beginnings. Do not underestimate gradual progress. Do not overlook quiet transformations. Many of my greatest works begin in ways that seem simple. A conversation becomes a new opportunity. A lesson becomes future wisdom. A challenge becomes future strength. A delay becomes future preparation. Everything connects in ways that are often only visible later. That is why faith remains so important. Faith allows you to trust that what appears small today may become significant tomorrow. Faith allows you to believe that what seems ordinary now may become extraordinary later. Faith allows you to keep moving forward even before the full picture becomes visible. My beloved child, one reason your breakthrough feels bigger than expected is because it is touching multiple areas of your life at once. It is healing wounds. It is strengthening character. It is restoring hope. It is creating opportunity. It is expanding vision. It is preparing purpose. This is not a single answer to a single prayer. This is part of a larger transformation, a larger unfolding, a larger story. And because of that, the blessing may arrive differently than you imagined. The answer may look different than expected. The opportunity may emerge from an unexpected direction. The solution may appear through a path you never considered. Do not let unfamiliarity cause you to miss what I am doing. Remain open. Remain hopeful. Remain attentive. The future unfolding before you contains surprises. Good surprises. Beautiful surprises. Moments that will cause you to pause and recognize my hand at work. There will come a day when you look back and realize that your original expectations were too small. You will see how carefully I arranged things. You will recognize how faithfully I guided you. You will understand why certain delays were necessary. And you will discover that what I prepared was greater than what you requested. My beloved child, expand your vision. Lift your expectations. Open your heart. The breakthrough is not shrinking. It is growing. The promise is not fading. It is unfolding. And what I am bringing into your life is bigger, deeper, richer, and more beautiful than you have yet imagined. My beloved child, this is your time to shine. For so long, you have been in seasons of preparation. You have been learning, growing, healing, and becoming. You have walked through valleys that tested your faith. You have climbed mountains that strengthened your character. You have endured waiting seasons that developed patience and wisdom. Through it all, I have been shaping you for a purpose greater than you realized. Now I want you to understand something important. The breakthrough was never meant to end with you. The blessings I bring into your life are not only for your comfort. The healing I provide is not only for your relief. The strength I build within you is not only for your survival. There is a purpose attached to everything I have been doing. There is a reason I have been preparing you. There is a reason you survived what others thought would defeat you. There is a reason your story continues. You carry light within you. Not because you are perfect. Not because you have all the answers. Not because you have never struggled. You carry light because my presence has been working within your life. Think about a lamp placed in a dark room. A lamp does not need to become the sun to make a difference. It simply needs to shine where it has been placed. Even a small light changes the atmosphere. Even a single flame pushes back darkness. My beloved child, there are people around you who need the light you carry. There are people who need your encouragement. There are people who need your compassion. There are people who need the wisdom you gain through your journey. There are people who need the hope that survived inside you. You may not realize how much influence you possess. Many people think influence belongs only to those standing on large platforms. They imagine that impact is measured by numbers, titles, or recognition. But some of the greatest impacts occur through simple acts of kindness, simple words of encouragement, and simple demonstrations of love. A kind word can change someone's day. A moment of compassion can restore someone's hope. A story of perseverance can inspire someone to keep going. A life touched by my grace can become a testimony that encourages countless others. My beloved child, you do not need to become someone else to fulfill your purpose. You do not need to imitate another person's journey. You do not need to compare yourself to anyone else. I created you uniquely. I designed your path intentionally. I placed gifts within you specifically. Part of shining is learning to embrace who I created you to be. Too many people spend years trying to become copies of others while neglecting the beauty of their own calling. But I never intended for you to live someone else's story. I gave you your own story, your own gifts, your own voice, your own purpose. There is a story about a garden filled with many different flowers. Each flower possesses unique colors, shapes, and fragrances. Imagine if every flower tried to become identical. The garden would lose much of its beauty. Its diversity creates its beauty. Its uniqueness creates its richness. My beloved child, the same is true for you. You were not created to fit someone else's design. You were created to flourish according to mine. That is why I want you to stop minimizing what I have placed within you. Stop dismissing your gifts. Stop overlooking your strengths. Stop focusing only on what you think you lack. Instead, recognize what has been growing inside you all along. You have gained wisdom through experience. You have gained compassion through hardship. You have gained strength through perseverance. You have gained faith through waiting. These qualities matter. These qualities are valuable. These qualities allow your light to shine. As you move into this season of breakthrough, I want you to walk with confidence, not arrogance, not pride, but confidence rooted in the understanding that you are my beloved child. Confidence rooted in the knowledge that I am with you. Confidence rooted in the awareness that your life carries purpose. There will be moments when opportunities appear. There will be moments when people seek your guidance. There will be moments when your story encourages others. Do not shrink back. Do not hide your light. Do not convince yourself that your contribution is insignificant. The world does not need you to be someone else. The world needs you to become fully who I created you to be. My beloved child, your breakthrough is opening more than doors of blessing. It is opening doors of purpose. It is creating opportunities for your life to become a source of encouragement, hope, and inspiration for others. So stand tall, walk boldly, love deeply, serve faithfully, shine brightly, not for your own glory, but as a reflection of my goodness. The years of preparation were not wasted. The seasons of growth were not meaningless. The lessons of the journey were not accidental. Everything hath been leading to this moment. And now, as the breakthrough continues unfolding, your light is becoming visible in ways it never was before. This is your time to shine, my beloved child. And the beautiful story I have been writing is about to reach its most powerful chapter yet. My beloved child, as we come to the end of this message, I want you to pause and remember everything I have spoken to your heart. Remember the nights when you thought you would never make it through, yet you did. Remember the burdens that once seemed impossible to carry, yet you are still standing. Remember the prayers you whispered through tears, the hopes you protected during difficult seasons, and the faith you held on to when answers seemed far away. Look at how far you have come. You began this journey carrying questions, fears, disappointments, and uncertainty. You wondered whether your breakthrough would ever arrive. You questioned whether the waiting had a purpose. You searched for signs that I was still working. And now I want you to see the truth. I was always working. I was working in the waiting. I was working in the silence. I was working in the struggle. I was working in the hidden places where your eyes could not yet see. Every lesson had a purpose. Every delay had a purpose. Every challenge carried a purpose. Nothing was wasted. Not your tears. Not your prayers. Not your perseverance. Not your faith. My beloved child, your breakthrough has arrived not only because circumstances are changing, but because you have changed. You are stronger than before, wiser than before, more resilient than before. Your faith has deeper roots. Your hope carries greater strength. Your heart has learned to trust me in ways it never could have learned during easier seasons. You are not the same person who stood at the beginning of this journey. You have grown. You have healed. You have endured. You have overcome. And now you are stepping into a new season. A season of greater peace. A season of renewed joy. A season of fresh opportunities. A season of restoration. A season of purpose. There will still be moments when questions arise. There will still be days when uncertainty appears. But now you know something you did not fully understand before. You are never alone. I have been with you through every chapter. I am with you today, and I will be with you tomorrow. The future no longer needs to frighten you because the one guiding your future is faithful. The road ahead is not empty. It is filled with my presence, filled with my promises, filled with my provision, filled with my love. So celebrate, my beloved child. Celebrate the growth. Celebrate the healing. Celebrate the strength. Celebrate the breakthrough. Celebrate the future that is unfolding before you. Lift your head high. Open your heart wide. Walk forward with confidence. The season of waiting is behind you. The season of breakthrough is here. And before we close, let this moment become a river that continues flowing into countless other hearts. My beloved child, when you sow through a super thanks, become a member, or give through the PayPal link in the description or the QR code shown with this video, you help carry my message to those who are still waiting for their breakthrough. Every seed sown becomes another lamp shining in someone's darkness, another stream of living water reaching a thirsty soul. My word declares that those who sow beside many waters will see a harvest in due season, and I am speaking that promise over every willing heart. This is your moment to answer my invitation and become part of a greater harvest of hope. Through your generosity, doors open for messages of healing, restoration, and faith to reach people across the world. As you place your seed into this mission, believe that I see it, I honor it, and I will use it for eternal impact. Let your giving become a prophetic act that declares you believe in the breakthrough not only for yourself, but for others as well. I will bless the hands that sow with a willing heart and multiply peace, provision, favor, and strength in their lives. Do not let this moment pass by unnoticed. Step into the harvest with me. Sow your seed and help spread my light to the next soul waiting for hope. My beloved child, I bless your future. I bless your journey. I bless your family. I bless your dreams. I bless your heart with peace. I bless your mind with clarity. I bless your path with purpose. And I bless your life with the assurance that the breakthrough I promised is already unfolding. Walk forward in faith. Walk forward in joy. Walk forward in confidence. For I am with you. Always. Amen.